Sustainable future requires the following. 1. Technologies designed for our realities. They must be affordable, resilient, and appropriate to our communities. 2. Energy systems that expand access while protecting the environment. 3. Resource management that balances economic growth with ecological stewardship. And 4. Leaders who can translate knowledge into policies, enterprises, and services that measurably improve lives across Ghana. To the faculty and researchers of UNER, thank you for nurturing minds that think critically and act responsibly. To parents and families, your support has been indispensable. Thank you very much. To industry partners and government colleagues, I encourage you to deepen your engagement with this institution. Invest in research, support incubators, and develop clear pathways for promising technologies to reach markets and communities. The government definitely will continue to create enabling policies and infrastructure, but the private sector's agility and capital are essential to scale innovations, those that create jobs and improve services. The problems ahead are complex and interdependent. Progress will come from shared intelligence across disciplines, sectors, and communities. Approach collaboration not as a compromise, but as a strength. Partnerships will sharpen your judgment and increase the reach of your work. As you step into the next chapter, let integrity guide your work. Meet problems with courage and creativity. There will be setbacks. Projects will fail. Funding will be scarce. When that occurs, return to the fundamentals that brought you here: curiosity, discipline, determination, and service. Celebrate small wins, learn from failure, and stay focused on the long-term impact rather than the short-term recognition. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let us remember that education, when it is relevant, has the power to transform societies positively. When we invest in knowledge, we invest in a future that is more prosperous, fairer, and more sustainable. Graduates of the University of Energy and Natural Resources, you will be among the architects of that future, designing energy systems, managing natural resources, informing policy, and building businesses that generate jobs and protect our environment. So, I urge you, the class of 2025, where are you? Congratulations. I urge you to move with confidence. Use your skills to innovate responsibly. Support others. I believe you heard that one. Help support others. And create partnerships that broaden the scope of solutions. Ghana needs your ideas, your energy, and your dedication. Congratulations again on this milestone. May your work illuminate the path towards a sustainable and prosperous future for our beloved nation. I want to thank you for your time, for your attention, for your achievements, and may God bless all of us, and especially bless our homeland, Ghana. Thank you all very much. The founder and chairperson of the Sunda Group, the management and staff of SoftScare, members of the diplomatic corps, Nime, Name, members of the media, Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. The government of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama is committed to the systematic transformation of Ghana's economy. One mechanism to achieve this aim is the Ghana Framework for Industrialization, Revitalization, Support, and Transformation. At the heart of this framework is the deliberate promotion of local manufacturing to support import substitution, value addition, and job creation. In line with this commitment, the Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry is focusing on domestic manufacturing as part of our industrial reset. Thank you. Today's commissioning shows that this strategy is producing results. The partnership with Softcare shows what is possible when a capable private sector responds to a predictable, business-friendly policy environment. This investment was driven by confidence in Ghana's stability, its market, and the government's policy direction. For over 20 years, Softcare has exemplified quality local manufacturing. Based in Accra, the company has grown from a necessity-driven idea into a nationally recognized producer, creating thousands of jobs and demonstrating that top-quality sanitary pads can proudly bear the label Made in Ghana. With this fourth production line, Softcare's annual capacity is set to increase from 60 million to over 80 million pads of sanitary pads, boosting domestic supply while expanding our export potential. Ladies and gentlemen, under the Accelerated Export Development Program, chaired by His Excellency the President, we are targeting high potential sectors to diversify Ghana's exports. Softcare already exports sanitary pads and diapers to more than 20 countries across West Africa and as far as Peru. This success also reflects the practical value of the African Continental Free Trade Area. By improving infrastructure, access to finance, and production standards, we are enabling Ghanaian firms to grow and compete confidentially within a duty-free continental market. Distinguished guests, we believe that Africa must move beyond exporting raw materials, whether cocoa, whether cocoa, oil, copper, diamonds, shea, gold, or more. The future lies in processing and value addition. This is how we expand our share of global trade and create sustainable employment. Local ownership, supported by capital and technology, is essential to this transformation. When schoolgirls receive locally produced sanitary pads, such as those we get from Softcare, they gain not only improved hygiene, but also support from a functioning domestic value chain. This matters because menstrual hygiene remains a significant barrier to girls' education and well-being, particularly in some disadvantaged communities. UNESCO estimates, for example, that about 1 in 10 girls in sub-Saharan Africa misses school during menstruation. And in some areas in our own country, far too many schoolgirls are forced to use improvised and sometimes substandard materials because sanitary products are unaffordable. This leads to many to miss several days of school each month. To address this, government has allocated 200 192 million Ghana cedis in the 2026 budget to continue distributing free sanitary pads to girls in primary and secondary schools nationwide. And I must say how particularly happy I am about this important intervention. To reinforce this intervention and stimulate local industry, the President directed that all sanitary pads procured under this program must be manufactured in Ghana. This addresses the immediate social need while supporting a sustainable domestic manufacturing industry and guaranteeing long-term access to affordable menstrual hygiene products. At this point, let me commend Softcare on its investment in schools and hospitals. Looking ahead, the global menstrual hygiene management market presents you with a significant opportunity. I'm informed that you plan to grow your workforce by thousands of employees over the next 5 years, positioning Ghana to capture its share of a growing market, and of course to contribute to the 24-hour economy also. This expansion aligns with our broader resetting Ghana agenda. We have significantly lowered inflation from previous highs, restored growth, and achieved credit rating upgrades, thereby boosting investor confidence. Fiscal discipline is being restored with a projected primary surplus, creating the predictable environment that enables long-term private investment. We are also easing the cost of doing business, abolishing the COVID-19 health recovery levy, reducing the effective VAT rate, and digitizing tax administration. Each reform is designed with one goal, and that is to make it easier and more profitable to do business in Ghana. Because when we invest in the private sector, Ghana grows. Thank you. Today's commissioning is therefore about many things. It is about manufacturing. It is also about removing barriers to education, raising dignity and opportunity for Ghanaian girls. And it is about translating policy into production and investment into impact. I commend Software Manufacturing Limited, its founder, management, and the workforce. Are the workers here? The workers didn't come. Oh, you are here. Well done. I commend all of you for the vision and partnership. I encourage you to keep expanding, innovating, and showing that Ghanaian manufacturing can compete with the best.
In 2024, even though Omodu Suya, it was not the right vote. I'm looking at Abdullah Ghanaian. Africa, Kababa property.
Support the branch we are ready to give you that support. Same Nigeria ready to give you the support to win. Sarafuso and the Obi Egema Green. So the MPP Eboko and Dakrana. Obeko Koye MPP Ejuma. ọbẹ̀pá kọ̀yẹ́ onídé bìí tire anadu ọbẹ̀pá kọ̀yẹ́ kàmbé ẹ̀tìyà yẹn yẹn sápá ẹ̀fẹ̀ sápá wọn nù sọ a asúkì yẹ wọ bí asọ yẹn bẹ mọ ọmọ kásá ni ẹ fi afẹ́yà.
Thank you very much, my brother, the President of the Republic of Kenya, William Ruto. Let me acknowledge your beautiful wife, the First Lady of Kenya. I bring you greetings from the people of Ghana, and to say that on this day, your 62nd Jamhuri Day, the people of Ghana are in solidarity with their brothers and sisters in Kenya. On this day, we pay respect to the memory of our forebears who fought for our freedom, and we do not take their sacrifice for granted. Shortly after His Imperial Majesty, the Oni of Ife, was installed on the throne, he paid a visit to Ghana to visit the Yoruba people in Ghana. And on the program, they had arranged for him to pay a courtesy call on me. And so after he had wound up his visits with his people, he paid a visit to me at the time I was president in my first incarnation. I received him at home warmly, like a brother, and he was like a younger brother to me, very open, very warm, and there was this magic relationship that immediately formed. Shortly after that, I went into the elections of 2016 and I lost. Most people are fair weather friends. After I lost, for some people, I would no longer have been important to them. But when he came and visited me when I was president, he invited me to pay a visit to his palace in Ile-Ife. And so, through my sister, he kept asking, when is your brother coming to visit me? And he kept asking her, when is your brother coming to visit me? And I was impressed because I was nobody, I was in opposition, and yet his insistence that I come and visit him was something that moved me. And so on one day I gave a date, and when I came, he received me so warmly. And after we had finished the visit, he took me to all the secret corners of the palace. And the word that came from the secret places was that, go, you will get your seat back. And truly, in 2024, I was re-elected as president. I don't take this honor lightly. I know that there's a historic bond between the people of Ghana and the people of Nigeria. When Nigeria prospers, Ghana prospers. When Ghana prospers, Nigeria prospers. God brought two of us together. We are like twins of the same mother, except when we are playing football, and then when we are cooking jollof. But I want to say this chieftaincy title, I receive it on behalf of all the people of Ghana. It will further cement the relationship between us. And as Oni said, my stepmother of blessed memory, I received this chieftaincy title on her behalf. Hajia Nusrat Balogun. At a point in time when my father had to come into exile, I had just finished university, and it was decided that one of us should come and stay with him. And so I was dispatched to come and keep him company. And so for several years I lived in Nigeria. I was in Lagos, I was in Offa, and I was even in Kano with our late brother Sharaf Balogun. May he rest in peace. And I was received very warmly, like family. You couldn't tell that I was not originally born here. Almost everybody in Offa knew me. I used to go to different relatives' houses, and wherever I go and food is ready, I'll sit and I'll eat amala or eba and egusi. And so I believe that that created the bond that I share with the country of Nigeria. I have an empathy with this country, and I believe that as long as I'm president, I'm going to continue to work to bring our two people even closer together. Indeed, historically, we are the same people, because as the Oni said, the Ga people of Greater Accra, where our capital is, trace their origins to Ile-Ife here. And as the governor said, and I acknowledge him, and I ask him to give my warmest greetings to Governor Adeleke when you meet him. Our sub-region is facing challenges. We all know what is happening in the Sahel. 3 of our members have decided to break away and form the AES. I believe that it shouldn't deter us, because God put us in this sub-region together for a purpose. And so I believe that instead of ostracizing them, we must work to continue to build a bridge between ECOWAS and our brothers in the Sahel. Because our destinies are tied together. In Ghana, they say if there's fire burning in your neighbor's house, take water and go and help him to quench the fire. Because when he finishes burning his house, it will spread into your house. And so we must continue to build bridges with our brothers in the AES countries and continue to encourage them to come back into the fold. I want to thank President Tinubu for the friendship that we share. I've known President Tinubu for many years. He's been like an elder brother to me. And he's been a source of inspiration. Even when times were hard and I was in opposition, he never broke his friendship with me. And so on this occasion, I want to thank him and also dedicate this conferment of chieftaincy to him. And so let me thank everybody. Like I said, time is fast spent. I want to thank you for the honor done me. It shows the love that I enjoy here in Nigeria. Because today is a Monday for all of you to leave whatever you're doing. And I know some of you are very busy, people with big businesses. For you to have left your Monday and come and join us here in Ile-Ife to honor me at this conferment. I say, may God bless you richly and prosper you even more than he has done before. So thank you very much. Eshegon. Thank you.
Papa baby I will be I will share TVXYZ afi say that no twedi ampo nyankopon ma afi na kwa pro abeto yen bibu kasa afi no kwa pro me sai ho me de me gitum so say ko na san beto me sa na tie afi say dem na obi akoma so ebisade twedi ampo nyankopon ma abem amano ma bibia etumi akonkan afi edi am this year Nicholas ya owusiosen wo betumi Afro-American Nicholas memo ha baby will be the biggest social political show your friend Inside Politics na wasugo so wo TV XYZ so ne Power 97.9 FM so wo hwe wo Power so na wo tie wo TV XYZ so ni nyina no wo hwe tie because Power ye sign wo Facebook wo tumi hwe Power 979 FM ti Power FM Facebook live here wo betumi ahwe bisa so na TV XYZ Ghana Facebook ye dem TikTok aso ye dem sa channel media TV XYZ ye wo digital platform free to air we betumi ahwe dwumadie bi sa so na me pacho bebre wo ko multi TV digbox me pacho bebre no so betumi ahwe TV XYZ wo so wo ko ne audio channel no so Power FM ye wo so betumi ahwe dwumadie bi ma bibia etumi akọ enkan kama pa edi ama na bibia adedin edi amede so Nicholas ya owusiosen wo betumi Afro-American Nicholas we the chief driver na kan ho dia na we kumukura say sia ade me di hene nti wo betumi Afram na putisi the first bibia wo bia no ntia kesen komo kam hwe na me wahasa me beso mo man Ghana ye bedi amayo se ho nkomo eni o man Ghana nkasa me koso banyina no ye bebo ho nkro wo dwumadie so nti bibia wo bia make us stay tuned stick and stay with your dial 97.9 megahertz so now TV channel here TV XYZ ya do twedi ampon yankopon asese wa ma afe na akwa pro abeto ye no na me the production team me no mo edi adwuma every January abesi December aka 15 days na ye the year 2025 kogu me so twedi ampon yankopon betumi a share true ma me no na 15 days ye tumi atwawie na yeshia the year 2026 jesu amen mamie na bibia entumi enkonkan wo hwe Ephesians chapter 15 verse 5 o say metene say wo bo bra no nyansem wabra bonfa bo nyansem fedi dwumedi a nyansade emom behave foolishly anti my mechanism 15 days here aka we nini yemfa mo bretene yembo ye bra nyansem yembo ye bra yemme ye ninda ho obibi a ye mu afeni kwa wie ya ye ma bonsam tim ye ne dadodo ye ma bonsam nya fans dodo obehu na ye say accident bi esi ha na obonsam na ye na abeifo na ye ne gya hye ha enra na me kofie me na me dwo mahama kwan so na car bi hye na driver bi si afeni kwa wie ye obonsam na me si obonsam wo he wofa obonsam wo he sometimes ya ye carelessness me tumi kofa sai accident ni adeba nti ekize baby na se obonsam no nti mama yen hwe ye hu ye nya fi na de bia road safety fo ebe abetene TV so ebetene radio so abeka kire se yen to ebo ase ye wie de akoshe obonsam wo ye driver na we koko season na still no wo drive with care nya abotre mempre hu ka se me kohwe o maguaba we driver tiemi we passenger wo fa car men share driver and say we late in 2080 so driver no nante cross akasa no ma yen kabio sa so na yeso pedestrian say ye twa kwan mu ni ade wo twa wo hwa ha 1 wo hwa ha 2 wo samba ho abehwe ne 3 ansa wo twam ye ma ye ni nkonkwala no ho ni nyina ehia ye papa afe no ekwa wie ni ma bebre ekoso nkran ha sei obehe na buy one get one free na egu truck so na omodena drinks ahro any canned foods ahro expiring date achibi wi ya san ka kiro say aje 3 months ansa say kra sa na mani na ye nsoso so mim say Food and Drugs Authority omo regulatory officers ni na mkremo mu di dwuma sa so na make say IGP Owura Christian Tete Yonu ono so ne mma no wo krompa me hu se patrol team ne name ahoho aba ye mpese omde omo ye ho asamba na ekọ Ghana no nyame ehira ye asomdwe wa ha nti ahoho ne ba na eba oman bi bonkofo paase omo nka se oba Ghana wonye save ni ade no ye so nti minim se ye kwa afine wie ye programs event aho bebre na ye nya ahwe yi bibia ye bia ye nya ne nyansem ye mfa adwe no to ho tisema ya kanwo Ephesians chapter 5 verse 15 no ye mfa adwe ne ento bibia ye mama yenye yade se yenye nyansafo mama yade se ye okosia sebi nti sanete yen boy e breyi na bibia entumi enkonkan mama na me production team ase o mabo adwuma ye papa wo twema wo ye big man mu bia na wa be che o mu bikama e de amame na bibia etumi akonkan na mo mpemu yo sanete TV director Mr. Ralph Jampo he oho mi se chian papa mo official pa sa so na mintia Mr. Peter Cranton me wa official pa me mintia eye Abbas uko AMCR ho Abbas na last one ho ashamani aneni ye den kra me hu bi da ashamani aneni ye den enye CCT camera na di na sema na cheni no do suko eye asempa ma woni ye den Abbas wo san support Liverpool fu endorse organo ba ye ni ye den sa na che mo woni ye den aha na bio mu ba ye ntwe wate yo sa so na me kwa sound Mr. Emmanuel na ete wo ho ne nua eye Emmanuel Kisi ko de hye na bedi de me hu za ne ka ne si wo wa yire oba na ase ana yo no so me mfa ntia kese emfema no me ba eye cameras ha me hu me nua Elvis yetwa ticket man so obefa fom yo ono so wa ha Elvis wa ha Kofi the boy baba be kan Elvis ho ma bibia etumi akọ enkan me nua ba wo siesie me Elizabeth Tego na Power FM de bia no then hotel kra makai Power FM de bia me mboni din so wo tie Power papa ma wo tie dwumadie wo Power FM so your friend Edem Mark Anthony or a blogger so Edem Mark Anthony koko season ni sikaba because of a tour guide into Edem Mark Anthony wo tie Power FM asa papa no so na otine echi a ohwe ma wo te sound bibia kama pa nti esa na tie only on the lighter note nti enchia kese nko mo bia barensam ho woni makoso panda ebedi ho komo kakra na asamba akon me pese me ka ho asem and then me kwa the western region Prestia Rini Valley constituency kohwa nyame ehira wasaman wo fa no takwa ko Prestia ko wose kropon ne ade nyame ehira mu ye papa wo asfoma gudi a ye frɛ no gold na wokɔ aboso takwa na aboso ɛhɔ na meken yenim sɛ ye gold fields wo hɔ na tetene mpanifo no bebi ana mines no ewura bon na omudi mudwuma no ade a omude ekro shaft no ana pit no de ama kromafo na abosofo nso omundidi ho omode na nyensu die bio surface mine no omukɔ asase ase mu wa eda me wura ho am yesem pesem komkɔ 1 2 am se kai mentumi nkɔ imu wa papa nti wokɔ a aboso mine no efi nananom eba mpanifo omudano chairman Sofo Osman Dauda ward chairman co-chairman Dela Guda omune ehweso a omoye responsible cooperative mining I just say aboso mine di ho amema bebre all over Ghana omuna no ekɔ hɔ a se adwuma no nansen omo ho ma hye adwuma na ase omgusu kra omo documentation efan responsible mining omo ho na se Chinese ni ba bia ba se ye friend global all nti oba beje pete no na MPP time no omo concession ma no me ka che maame no ne omo hye kire se aha ne hin His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ye papa wo Ghana nti otie ma ye ken se ehɔ no omude maman no wokɔ a friend saying takwa bi ho wokɔ oboase abi ho ye yi pete ba ko de maman ne se mema mai musumundidi hu munna munya mfa so fi na nanom ahemfo company fo mo ho nyina omunye bi didi mo bi ahotɔ no omugbo omuntreni wo sa shaft na pete ni mo se chairman Dela Guda ne dom ono abuku dwomu ono ye MP ho ene ye friend saying MC ono abu aye mo se omonhwe na sa bon no maami global all ne ba baji me pese me ka sɛ wotɛyɛ kyerɛw sɛ wontɛyɛ kyerɛw yɛ research Ghana na Ghana na yɛ research no yɛn timamufoɔ no first Ghana fo ntie ne yo Ghana na yɛ research no yɛ timamufoɔ first enye say ye pam investors no but yet timamufoɔ first ade ba ko a ye research Ghana na yen timamufoɔ first His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ne research no ye timamufoɔ first enti ade a mo yi amakro oman ne se omundidi ho no na ye friends embrantie ne nketesia omunye adwuma na omundidi enye surface mine no obehu say ye sensu bi o we omo kwa asase ye rock mining muntie ne ye rock dey mining no mo ye ho rock mining enti ahane hin say MPP time no mo de concession ma bi MPP time ma MPP ko ye twam MPP time wo mo twam abosoman eyi na ewo ho a se omo ye adwuma didi ho gangway etwam enti se ano man no ye reset a Ghana first ye timamufoɔ no ya ikro no ye de yen na ye hwɛ ye first ye massa China samba ye previous government China no ye massa neama ne mba ye nsi China for kwan but ye me yansa ya ye me fata ye nuanom China for ye obi mo ye good investment mo ye investment wa ha but adia timamufu ye ho adwuma boni bia mba ya yenim se ye we ye mo bi mfim ba se global na wa behye bon no betu no wokwa ye cooperative mining no mo ye responsible no mo ye wo ho enti yesre mumma ye nkofo no enhwe eye chairman so Osman Dauda ni eye nunu aguda chairman fo abie na omo na that responsible cooperative mining anu or abosu gangway no omo hwe nya adwuma no kama because akrobia wo mu no adibia na anyame bi ahia mo no ose muso amwo munya ho mfaso enye MPP dam na nado ni Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia mo time a ye be na o ma beji concession no enye surface dia muntumi mu bubu bundwe no ma beji dia ma China fu bi nipa mienu miense bi na o mo hye ho ye abra kroni no so omdidi hunya ho mfaso ye nhwe ba ne nsei no me se den ye nhwe ma ne nsei inti sa global o se China woman na o kono ye baba do woni hwan na wo sa de na enye se ye adwuma timamufu mo ho chairman so Osman ne eye nunua chairman Gudam omo hwe BBNC and obie didi yate ho asembo ne da no hwe ni pam thousands of people eye adwuma ho na ye jama Chinese woman be no o ye chairman ne say we first yes citizens no ye timamufu no ye na ye first enti sa na tie timamufu no ye na ye first research no His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ni enti ye bubu bi enfa chire na unkasa Chinese woman bi no concession no wokwa asia wate ho asembo ne wate sa abosu mesu wate se nsuo bi asai wo ho no eye Peter abosu go first then time be ye ho adwuma mo de ono so ama man so omundidi ho enti aha ene nse mo ba suma nkofo na o ma ba se conscience no enti honorable Emmanuel Kofi Amaboa honorable amonhwe mayen because mo adwuma mo ye ho chairman Gudam kama pa fi bia ni ho ye nhwe mo bi mfi China mbekasa concession ye ne dia saa ne mani na abekoso ya ye bibifuo ni bi na ya na ye hye saa ne mani chi Ghana first ye reset mine no minso honorable Kofi Amaboa mo makwan masade ni isi honorable Kujo MP4 Prisia Univalley ansana MCO honorable Aye Dr. Aye Mumfa Nancy from chairman Delagudani Ninia or chairman so Osman na abosoman didi hu sunya hu faso sana ye wokọ man bia takwamu na bi oho wokọ man bia ye to gold o ha eye rock man kwa asase ye wo pit ba kwanya hape o man bia Australia South Africa ye mo ba ko se mo so man mu didi hu ntina nanom ahemfo nya bi empanifo mo ho nya obi nya bi eno ne papa a yente ho asemmo ne bia nti saa maame global on ne ho amo na o mo pre ho ne de me did say over the bar on to one margin and yadia or say a boss mindia and the youth of a boss not so mudidim no umuye hwedwuma a yadia surface mine a rock mining omukwasa asiase kofa aboba me video so wan chem yima wo hwa hawati clean body bia ni nti chairman so forceman oni eye ni nua delagoda mombo madwuma abosuman na mosumunye adwuma ne kama te say responsible man ye behwe ye no ha mobo adwuma munye pepepepepe na nko yie na bibia ntumi nkonkan Prisia Mini Valley hona biom hona biom ko eye Prisia so no so mines bia wo hwa from eye he to say het mine wo ho no so concession ba kwa no so ko Prisia ye che say eye Prisia mine so didim kakra ye say no so mo di aboso no so last week ye ti demonstration e course so awa ne dom ihu demonstration no so course so me pacho benimfo nhwe na say ye de yeshira eye bombi so mo pit bi e de mo so osimesi ye friend say sa bon we ana say sa shaft we ya mundidi ma mfe mo enya fi na edwuma bi ba na wabeya sa na omo pese omo ya aboso die eye gangway we Prisia so the same thing man no so omo de omo say eye mine no mrantie ne nya rock mine nso ndidi sa bon no no company bi so aba say our concession ho ye nwadwuma o san aba abedi aka yesrem penifo bibia no ye reset mine na yetimemfo no first ade a yakase yemfa mamu na musumundidi ho no ye behwe no obi aba say oba abeji no concession oma ya ma de na ye kama no na obi aba say oba abeji yenhwe manensei enti yesre sa na Prisia de no sote amai no edidi ho emrantie ne ketesi omo Prisia na nan mfumu na obia nya ne de asembia ne ho te ba ne sen na say he to say heto omo aba say omo beji sa concession obia ni so mo obi dada mo concession ho amudidi ho dada enti mo hwe na amai ne de nso ye de amakuru no mudidi ho na mo sa ba beji aboso enya dia o say sa niema no yesoso so minim say Honorable Kofi Amabo amo ha omo bo adwuma amotumi ahwe ma bibia dedin yesa na timemfo ni di yawo yesa na timemfo no omo hwihwi because ade ama ukọ mining area to takwa aboso ne ade ya wonti gidigidi bia wo ho wonti basabasa ye bia wo ho sa ade enti yentumi ma sebewa youth no mo ho ne entuto ejejem ukọ ho a enya ade a mining sebewa sa rock mining no mukọ asase ese underground mining ni yete wasem money bia what to say sensu no omo nya de omo sensu ni yi enti omo de ne yetetede na yekọ asase ase koye no na omo ya bonsu ewo mi na piegu na omo ye mo adwuma na obi abasa oba abeje eno de ye reset mine medical akasa His Excellency John Dramani Mahama Ghana mbebu ne da na koma so adwuma omo ye wo wenye adwuma boni enye sa surface mine omo sese yensu ni ade no enye oni bikra ade ahuson eda ho kama nti eno ni ade a ye ka ho asem ese Prisia de so last week you say mrantie no awa ne no domo biniza akpanya gamu omo ya ade a omo tu ho to sukoko omo de omo petition koma eye mpanifo omo ho police omo ho so mu bi ni ade awa mo omo bo adwuma ye pa Honorable Kujo AMP wo eye Prisia Mini Valley eye na mo so mahwe meko because enim say mo ya we na mo nim say enya de ya de boni mo ye ho Honorable Dr. Ayemu mo MC mo ho mo nim say edwuma mo ye anti say bi mo ba no mo fa chi na mo so mo de mo na esi form ama ye ho na mo de mo nan den esi form ama ye ho na obi mo mbobu mfa so ye mpese mbrantie ne nketesi omo Prisia Mini Valley be ye basa no ye makwan na ye hwe manense enti ediete no Prisia de no so shaft omo de amom pete omo de amom so omo nya adwuma eye rock mine no mkwa asase a ne so concession mine no wo ho ye no concession no so abaje aboso eno so penifo nhwe mom na ndedi because wo ko Prisia potem ho a no so mbrante ani nketesi no mo ni nje kra awa ne do mo ni nje kra meko ho mo ni nje nti esrem ankasa no so mo nhwe na mo mmoa na bibia ntumi nkɔ nkan because hard adwene yie wokɔ Prisia last week mrantia ni nketesia omoto ntosukɔkɔ nante krom na omani nje mekɔ so ina na hard adwene nti yetoto asre sɛ saa enema no so ombɛhwɛ aye na omatoto bibia din de amomo na yekɔ mining areas na yente problem bi mu kwaye omoye na omode bɛyɛ na president su nim mekɔ so ho because yenim sɛ ho ina na responsible cooperative mining na omoye ho na omoma bibia ento din na bibia entumi nkɔ kama nti ade atene no awane no dom so ebu adwuma pa nti mombo adwuma ho te sɛ ma chairman so force mam so bu adwuma no mombo adwuma ho na bibia entumi enko nkan na bibia ende yi nti omo petitioner omo ka say His Excellency John Dramani Mahama intervene mo omo efa no cooperative mining a omo ye ho a no so ebi mu ha omo no omo hwe no omo ntuto din because omo so ye Ghana fo omo ye timemfo omo so ewo ho omo ye bieye nti sa Health Goldfields Limited yes am operations no bibia mo manudu no monya ne sa eba ne sa na unemployment rate na bekoso na hadwen wo Prisia ne important we ade a ye total champagne for say no so omo hwe mayen na bibia entumi enko enkan aha TVXYZ in power 97.9 FM nti bibia wo bia wotie ye no de tene no em senche meyi video Supreme Court make say Supreme Court suspense Pandai 2024 parliamentary election rerun nti no so ye behena and then me course wo court no I ready amoma me hu e course wo court no ye kwetietie mu ensem na ye di ho enkomo nti make say the Supreme Court has ordered the Electoral Commission to suspend all arrangement for rerun of the parliamentary election in Pandai pending determination of an application challenging the High Court judgment that ordered the rerun. Yabako na and then me so hono yakore says ya ne teteta yenim say Electoral Commission last week omo de buy ma ye this statement to no it's on hold but yankwe na me so court no yentiebi.
I would like to express our most profound gratitude to the bench. The Honorable Court, in the interest of justice, has listened to the prayer of the legal counsel for the applicants and has ordered that the second interested party, which is the Electoral Commission, should suspend all preparations towards conducting the rerun in Pandai constituency on 30th December and wait until such a time that the main or the substantive case, which is the application for an order of certiorari from this court seeking to quash the judgment delivered by the High Court in Tamale on 24th November 2025. Also, the Honorable Court has ordered that we serve the first interested party, or Mr. Nsala Wapal, the NDC parliamentary candidate by substituted service, through his WhatsApp, the High Court Tamale notice board at the Supreme Court, and also at his residence in Pandai. So we are most grateful to the court, and we look forward to making our case in the subsequent sittings of the court set at 13.
The attorney we NPP lawyers or mukopi mu wo Supreme Court na per 5-member panel of the court Supreme Court no Justice Gabriel Poaman onona otena assembly so preside case no na nchio mu ina ne se ebeye se process no impo nchio mu be post on house address of the Mr. Wakpa the notice board of the Tamale High Court Impo District Court of Pandai ni nano che omode beto so na bibia etumi akonkan yebekọ na ekotia Mr. Rashid Tanku adodo na friend computer yenkoni enkotie no so nsem odi tudwa.
We are not surprised at all. We are law-abiding citizens as a political party. What we do know is that the Supreme Court only suspends the rerun. The Supreme Court has not cancelled the rerun. They only suspend that. Yes, my opponents have only suspended their defeat. In fact, it has been suspended. Their defeat has been suspended. It has not been cancelled. It means the Supreme Court is aware of the orders of the High Court, and they are also aware of the second responder, which is the Electoral Commission, having fixed a date for the rerun. So what they are saying is that, well, hold on the rerun. Let's see. The people are crying that they have not been managed to serve our candidate. That's why we are on a report. Our candidate was not served. Our candidate is a law-abiding citizen. He's a former MP. He has not traveled out of the country. And it is not for his duty to be looking for the bailiff to come and serve him, or the NPP. He was not served. And that's why he didn't appear in court. They are lucky we are not in court. It's just that because we are not properly served, we are not being served, that is why we didn't appear in court. But needless to say, we respect the outcome of the Supreme Court, saying that we should suspend, but they have not access to suspend campaigning. For the party NDC, we will continue our campaign. In fact, because we want to have a very wide margin in the rerun. Of course, it's going to come. They only deferred their defeat. They've given them 7 days to use substituted service means to get us. Well, let's wait for the 7 days. After, we'll take it on from there. 13th is not far from this. It will give us ample time. And then we'll put our acts together and we'll continue the campaigning. In fact, as I speak now, some of our team members are already on their way. So long as the Supreme Court has not access to stop campaigning and all that, but only suspend the rerun, shorter order is directed to the Electoral Commission, not with the political parties. They should suspend the rerun. That is what is said. And so it's an action that the Electoral Commission, if they will go ahead with the 30, now that they've been asked to suspend it, or yeah, they have to suspend and wait until 13th around the corner. They've given NPP 7 days to look for my candidate and serve him through substituted means. We're all in this country. We are not running away. We are not fugitives. We are law-abiding. The most law-abiding political party in Ghana, NDC. And so we respect the courts. That we went to the court to seek for justice for the people of Kandai. If we have not been served and they got an action like that, definitely their lawyers will want to go for substitute service. So we already knew that they will want to go for substitute service. We are not worried. We are not with that initial surprise. So we are ready. We will.
Nti ora tanko computer na yete enenkano ono na ode ensem atudwa efa no pandai rerun ante because 30th December ya make say the apex court of the land, Supreme Court ahote se munya ho abotre na muntutu nieme bi na yenhwe se ebeba so anti ho ensem na tanko computer woba NDC mu a elections director deputy ono so odena no disem atu edwa enibino na ye pim akoye nima na now say to Asante Hene the second make us say ade a we be piem wo enkrankrodwe mu enye baby ase the Jubilee House ho na we be piem obe submit boko conflict no mediation reporter course no odi ebetudwa yebehwa yenuanu omo boko yenuanum kusasifo ene yenuanum ampolishi efo boko rest yebehwa boko de bia ne yetinsem bebre nankasa nti His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ne nyansem no ode hye Asante Hene na otumfo say to the second nsase onhwe na onye atemginafo na one yenuanum kusasi ene yenuanum abokofo mampusifo enkasa mfa ho fi se mekoso oboko na ha adwene ye ne kre otumfo osei tutu nana the second otonsa frɛ ikuomienu yenuanum kusasifo osensan tonso frɛ yenuanum mampusifo one omudi nkomo wo Kumasi menhia na waye nkomoni ni ewie ni omatutu bibia ewie nti meka sei watonsa de afrɛ ekuomienu na akasa wi aje omanu di semina na mediation report eye otumfo say to the second otikoko so owie yen wakeka bom no or presente Edia His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to be PM or Jubilee House. Me pese ye kone kwa hwem fo nyina hro a obe PM no. Eyo nti de eteno no na boko nsemi aya ade aha adwene ni ayi pa boko nsem ni na akoye se kusasi fo trese boko ye omodia ayenim se boko ye nuanom kusasi fo dia na omo trese omo nti ase se ye nuanom mampusi fo so beba na omo besi hene wo eye boko because eye omo de nti omo na omo asase ni sutumi nti ye nuanom eye mampusi fo ntumi esi hene wo eye boko asase so nti emse eno na ede ensem bebre na nkasa ni bebre mente me ho ase but the wunnim ye nuanom kusase ne bo eye mampusi fo mo ye nuanom pa enkra ha de minim kusasi ene eye mampusifo mo ya ahemfo abusaye adamfofo anti ebese ye nuanom bokofo sesi anu gidi o munna no munya wo eye nana otumfo se tutumu a omotumi enya gidi so obetumi aboa ma asomdwe aba no ye ma sa pepe ye ni nya adwuma ye ma kro ye ni nya adwuma na bibia entumi endedi anti enche yebekwa ekodi eye apomuden ho nkomo edi aba na edi apomuden ho nkomo ne ba meyi sa akasamfonyi no na menu na no yahwe yense mbre ne yebekọ eye midimafo de bia meka mianti ekuadwubi ose yawo mekọ eye midimafo na okọ midimafo no kumase de no na okọ na sabio no nante kra ye ne ya obre yi pa nso doctor hwe no na miadom no ho ye ntide bia no ka ana meti midimafo din a na makai me anti preko pepa midimafo herbal hospital and that's me home for you say doctor yacha o obi man sopa na enye easy doctor wo bibi abako de binia midimafo mo bo edmo mo bankran ha so nkofu di mo dance
yes
edmo ya de se mo mankan fo ye ntwa ayimba kumase mo me betra so ya te ya pom de kama pa ewie de na midimafo mo ma ye
me dance na mamenchia wahefo ene watifo ene enwumri na yemfa nchie mo odemfa ma opani kwankyerefo a wono ene da midimafo e ba hospital ano Dr. Edujemfi Dr. Time da so yemfa enchia soronko emfa ma no na yemfa enchia emma Mrs. Time da so ene adwumefo a ono mo midimafo e ba hospital yina na ade ba akono se enokre se enkranfo entwa kwan enko kumase wono betena ya poko asemayira ene agi ayarehwe enti na me no kase no nan abapa ho meet enwotwi se afei na oba midimafo e ba hospital poko asemayira mpacho ye behwew se kumase ye buakwa atwuma agona oba nso ye behwew nyame adoma eda ochena na nyame adoma eda ochena the 17th of December na da oche 17th no mpacho Dr. Time da so ewem ewotakwa na takwa nyame adoma ochena na ehwa ase sebe Dr. Pese mu ananka lofa mu betua hyentiade a mu betua ria bakumase anam betua da ba nkran aba besa mu yare no Dr. say for kakra bi ka hu na fa beje wa yaresa ewotakwa Roman Catholic Church no na baby friends Palace Hall eho ane yebetena sinyame adom ochena anapatututu Palace Hall na Dr. Tamba so atena se takwa eno ntino wo takwa kuro no mo ben takwa ankasa mbetime aba Palace Hall mpacho nyumrei obeso ochena nopa oba ya ne edi kan hwe wontem a bra obetime aba beda ho nyumrei adechia ne ahwew takwa na on the 18th of December ochena chi ochena chi ya wada no mpacho Dr. Betena se Palace Hall eno so watakwa ho a Roman Catholic Church no Palace Hall eho ena Dr. Betena se takwa enyime obatimi aba enti ochena ne na de chiye ma mentena se emfa oyare yero mfa nkowura 2026 mentena se me infections adokoro wo no se ene sumu a adokoro kraman no emfa nkowura 2026 entena se emma sabio bema wonya ko osia ni mu a aji kei na vesi ni trase masa obebosua oye se emporo ka wo ma mpacho odi hye tagia mpacho en kan wo eni obe pia bramidi mafo ba hospital hia doctor o bo benta kware ne mpacho mo a ne chense se obi nyare na ope me dura oba medimafo ba hospital ampacho ebe ma bi oba wonyare na ope me dura oba medimafo ba hospital ampacho ebe ma bi wano nom na afi akle fin bia wa system no bia na afi watumi ade wo ho watumi de esi akan pacho akanzie no wo ya be ma na aboboro no wan hyegu a pacho Endra United ene bomb of Vojia 8 goals ne pie mu ntu ya strike na ntumi hyegu a pacho so mfa so ene de bra medimafo ba hospital ne ma hyegu Dr. Tanda so nyame aduma Friday on the 19th December mpacho takwa aboso mpacho Dr. Tanda so ba takwa aboso nyame aduma on the 19th of December efiada edi enemu takwa aboso mpacho doctor eba ho town hall ho ena doctor etena se efiada ebe eni ntiyenhye Dr. Tanda so se uyo bia Dr. D kan ba takwa no eba ni mpire no so no wa maybe eni ntuni card a oba ade aben so be card 70 Ghana cedis. Na only Dr. D nkomo medima fo mpacho yenye consultation fee medima fo ba hospital ade a oba no say we ya card wie ni a check your vitals medical council so oba medima fo ba hospital no ochina no pa wo hia doctors na pacho ba make sure say wonante na oba aye eni ntino betena se between 10 to 15 minutes and some ya check your vitals are bound en kasa na me pentam ena mon check ma me na say dabi tena se within 10 to 15 minutes say be your nurse ni na be calm down na afi ya check ni anya results papa anya sabon se be check ya wie no esan say bi o nante ye ana utu mirkanti no pacho eni o mani na osoro afobon so wan hwe ya na yakoko ma pressure duro enye medima fun kwanti na make say ba me kan kire obi biara woko say orthodox so say heba o me say unante na woko unless I would carry you go to hospital ho and we see akwatena se ba anya say na say unante ba kwansi fa na say mpono unante any distance akoma na ya adwuma a so otena se between 10 to 15 minutes and say check your vitals the amount and we here pa e medima for ba hospital and any edin komoy nyame aduma on Friday they tell say on the 19th mbacho we say last week Friday or ya premium service but nyame aduma this week premium service e baso I don't think premium service because we poko answer Maida for enya dia ba kono say ebia na enkranfo the last premium service betimi akoso ni ebia na the last sense on the 19th the next one no is somewhere around 25 or 26 and be see enti one here we be the last one ye be the amamu on the 2025 enti mpacho o person about for premium service fa kwanya we na bra nyame aduma Friday pick number me be boy na o premium service a wafre no book appointment. We your first time oba ho pacho ubeta 200 Ghana cedis for registration e medima for ba hospital nya hospital bia e medima for ba hospital oba so person oba after 5 after 4 after 6 mpacho be time person oba no ye no be kasa ni ama o time obetimi ya ba medima for ba hospital poko asemaira na afia show e bia wan kasa o do ka na ba so ye na we de minimum meda aba pacho wo fa ofo na ko Google map no so na obo medima for ba hospital Accra ba bia wo bia enkran hide wo ba wo Central region credit obeba Eastern region voter Greater Accra pacho we na obeba afel ben Kumasi anu nso obebo medima for ba hospital Kumasi and also do eba medima for ba hospital no ba be share doctor and until for premium service on appointment o person about for number we 0591 pacho different from the desk screen so no the TV no so no the overtime after at any time now on your dinkobo but when on appointment pacho abrochire for mabagana o ye be ma o ye oba wontumi wo afra abrochire ba pacho be pa waduro na akwa wo be ma nso afra abrochire ba say awon wo ho awon ba sa bon so mo so kwaku don so afra boso kro ntimi nsore bra medima for ba hospital be je me ma drum bi ni enhwe ni pedio na fako ba adwuma wa awonum ni ehu sampa o ye mbema mu o ye ma ma opiafo 0591 20 2375 tieni pa we bia na ntie radio no bi o yi lock na free phone so menya abotre de yama o me say 0591 20 2375 premium service number mama someone bi ma o 0591 20 2375 on Friday on appointment afemu a obeso obadakwa nyame adum ochina echi ochina ni ochina chini ni fiada nyina no obetimi afre 0244 774282 0244 774282 and 0500 727215 edepa 0500 727215 Emitimafo Aba Hospital. Adia ba ko say virus infections are wodo nim treat kama or tresem say muni dia ba fa haban fa nsam ho yare enu nti say Dr. Tam da so ba wade haban ni bre na esa yare adia ba ko say doctor ye hwehwemu woni padua nim kroje ansan ye de dro dia ka na nhwan kan nyame obo soro no bo asase say ebra doctor de show no pacho ebra no empa ho obi o a pacho system no different from maami abrago pacho ni dia no so ye different mo de yare kro na de baye ubon so no within 3 days na no hoto within 1 week na no hoto na mpa ba sanse ayarasan se de o system o nerves na na se emporo immune system na react to medication nti but you remo adura ho beto e medima fo ba hospital dem ya doctor transfer ka se de dotie anka onwemfo nsem no yo yare no so nyankopon twadi amponti pacho enka so ya we nyankoponti enka so onama de video ne haba ma wode ama doctor tanda so pacho be yisa o hawo ne afiri ho eno ntini yase ya de ade nkruma esa yare be ma wosisi pacho ade nkruma ni hine no ya de ma ho tatahwe pa obi wani hawo no pacho ba ye ade nkruma na ba ho powerful but medima fo ba hospital na yem fa sa kwan no so yem hwe oni padua no na afi yem mo aduru ade ba kwen so obi wo yeso any person must nya fatty liver sometimes medima fo ba hospital ya ba yen time bo yare akese so ni botanical name ni scientific name ni ade da bi esa depression na eto so enti so wudnim sa wo bia afi ne do how dia ba afi be mo adwenwene sa na dia to na non mo nse de pese be ba sa eno ntimi ase sa wo ba medima fo ba hospital na bia stroke na acho e de wato wo say stroke no ye de o maka yare wa hodo a ye kan kire wo say sa nyare wa hodo en tatia case wo mani so no ye de stroke de aka ho obi a stroke abubu na to fom ye mo ansori obi a stroke nti wano ache kohwe ba bi no ye ma 3 days pe ma me mpa cho wo kidney ase asa nye ye biem onyankopon twede ampo ne bo ni padua na so obi o ye ka engine say no otimi ye na ma sa eti apo biem dia adenti no nyame abo ni padua no ne ase wo kidney ase na wo si enye ye da biara da onyankopon twede ampo e wo tumi e won haba mu say yemfa ensa yare ye medima fo ba hospital afa me mo adabirijo esa nsem ya adabirijo me nye ho me baba tanda so ne nye ho nti be ma bia ba adabirijo bia no enye na damfo ne ena me say me hu kura na me mo abatiri so na o yire anase mpoko do nke ka kire me say be ma 1 minute or 2 minute or 5 minute me ma show so tro ma wan hwe ya me so me boss tro ama wan abati ato pa cho bra medima fo mentena se esika kakra bi na ade ba medima fo na atimi ahwe ne atwiti kama high cholesterol aba ni padua no enu ntina be ma wo be ma sabro enkon kan no intini mo sisi bra ni flash ni na mfama na ye ntu ase mfama onim sa hypertension ntino sometimes obi wa ne honam no bonse odware ana ne honam keka no hypertension the san yo ma no e de ba ni padua no se fever ana se empo no typhoid no wanya oba medima fo a ye mo odro toase edro ede ma no ekwahye mo na se dia free ni padua no se typhoid ba wo so na wa ntu ni nyina se amfa mfiri ma ekaketwa bi wo mkrampo a pacho within a month 3 weeks omo multiply na omo ba omo the full force ena eba enu nti bo se be wiase no na nipa no so ate hu na on beka se ade es na ye nipa ya na so na typhoid bra medima fo ba hospital na ye ntu tiri nyina mfamo ye di senior koba me kan kire o se oba onya infections ahodo a memfa nku ni ade mfa nsrasra obrahim mo duro na mum ko dipe na flush ni na out na afa ntimi mo je numbers no ochina takwa aboso na Thursday takwa nyame adom ye Palace Mall Palace Hall ye ho nyame adom ochina e wo takwa Palace Hall ade chi Thursday asanso Palace Hall na aboso no e Friday e wo takwa yes takwa aboso on Friday doctor okay adana kura na obohodi takwa aboso okay enti doctor betena so ho Friday enti your number sabe freno for premium service 0591 202375 for premium service no eno no 0591 202375 ena number abe frɛ general ade adi nkomo 0244 774282 0244 774282 medimafo heba hospital Dr. Time era so opening ebera asepa
meda asepa papa nti medimafo heba hospital na ye call ye no me nkwaja aboafo nkrato ba ko mienu me ensambra ye ba enche abedwafo no beba listo na na poku kusi ye bete nenka nti mo fidie no koso nda ha ya me ba sesia
I'm pleased to introduce to you Cancer Mixture, a herbal mixture for arthritic pain. Arthritis,
It's me.
Cancer Mixture, no, Cancer Mixture. Yeruba Biana Nudruo, Moria, or arthritis. Cancer Mixture, obey your juma when you put it inside. I'm a face in the grand. And if you did dinner, menu on your market for your button, a woman, one menu for. First, baby, I'm from one Sanka, Senior Susan, Boliviara, home doctor, and I report to FDA Med Safety App Nodo.
And Katui, FDA, Apinodo.
Now, again, I obey ya. What that for my son, Yafunu,
Oh, Miss Entry, also ya rea titi be ben fiepi, now so, Niamun Yonoda, Semicho, no who draw matter, me no shea, a bayan mama.
Meaning, say, what also time for Haxa capsules, any Haxa mixture, Yanum Bom Kutia or Sanubia Mano Anum, and can what on da also Drodi, and one Haxa capsules, any Haxa mixture,
and come in
also a kura, a toy funo, any and sunumu, etima we yefunu ekekawa, woje ho a enyi, wasa etumi ema we ye cheko, ebra we didi ewie. Somehow eye also there, compare Haxa capsules, any Haxa mixture, nanum bom, now ho abeto.
Predudua tua, ko okanshi drug lane, Kumasi Dani Herbal, Takradi AA Mensa, Anafre 020-3822-855. Approve about Tanya Wama on more from the four, and then more for women feeding you no encounter. Haxa capsules and in a mixture.
Also time for FDA Aji Egadi Kratui Atom.
Hi. Now let me tell you about Safari Valley Eco Resort, the first of its kind in West Africa. Upon your arrival, you are introduced to a butler who plans your itinerary.
We were surrounded by wildlife from the moment we entered the eco park.
So many activities, all in the same premise. Visit the gym or the stables, they have it all. At my break, I'm able to practice my putting.
We also went fishing on a man-made canal. Our tour guides taught us so much about the wildlife and how to interact with them.
They used only electric vehicles here. This creates a serene environment. I'm told it's over 1,000 acres. My cabin here sits on 2 acres with a large terrace space overlooking my private swimming pool. Now this is royalty. They have their own farms, thousands of fruit trees. I can also have my lunch here at the waterfall. It's a beautiful place you have visited.
Visit Safari Valley Eco Resort in Ghana, bringing you closer to nature.
What a ejumada, what a young Ediani, a boy in Safari Nipedian. Na a boy Nipediama, it's not we. Nanso, when we say Niama ID, na yeno, to me, my brother, what ye ejumading, same pote. Mehunda. Me brebo ye juma pa e bia se me tumi ye bibi bo me brebo
ani and wanting about the left hip from the Moses Clinic we have also about herbal food supplements we see the brebo ama e ye juma ye
na e ye juma
fatopa ye ni no anopa ni anwumre na eboama obrebo ye juma ye sene be ya e betimi anyam aduane awodi e siesi ni aduane mo e nyi mo finsini
eno na me brebo kia pa ubenya left kid or pharmacy herbal shops ni supermarkets a ebenwo se wo pedudo so to a 7244 068447 left kid wa wo brebo wa wo ni pedua Edui enye mapenfo ema ema omomanfo ne mmofo a wonya mfie dumie FDA agi dwedie krato yi atum.
The serene environment fits into the goal of the school, which is simply to provide excellent educational foundation for your world's development before they commence primary education. At first glance, clearly you will see why the school is called Hebron Hills International School, as the building stands tall overlooking town. With a Montessori style, we have experienced and dedicated staff and trained teachers. Our small sizes classrooms are meant to enhance teacher-focused approach where children get one-on-one attention from the teacher. Hello there. We are open at 7:30 a.m. and school closes at 2:30 p.m. After school care is from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. while early drop-off can be arranged at 6 a.m. Hebron Hills International School is located at Midye off Densawon Road. Locate us with GP postcode GW0688 Ga West and GPS code 06884870. You can contact the school and make further inquiries on 050-876-2375 or call the office directly on 0302-918768. Email us at hebronhills.school@gmail.com. Hebron Hills International School. Excel and shine.
If I cry na menyisika, etia ye mefui.
Ehifa pa na menya bosia, edia tre medwuma yimu.
Kan cry mabre, menya bosia ato taxi fufu. Suhum Rural Bank.
Suhum Rural Bank.
Yamamwa kwa baba Suhum Rural Bank. Ya wonhyehyɛ ahodoɔ bi te sɛ dwadifoɔ bosia, ɛkuokuo bosia, susu account, ɛne daso wɔ hɔ savings account, me bada chain savings account, ɛne deɛ keka ho. Frɛ Suhum Rural Bank wɔ 034229186. Na wɔn nso wetumi aka sɛ
Suhum Rural Bank ama ene mayeka ona.
Suhum Rural Bank enti mepa minie.
Suhum Rural Bank, growing our heritage.
Ghana, get ready to win big and live large with Mega Cash Lucky Box, the game where you could walk away with instant cash prizes. It's easy to play. Just dial *426*5# on all networks. Follow the prompt, pick a lucky box and reveal your cash prize. It's that simple. Win massive up to 500,000 Ghana cedis. Don't miss your chance. Players all over Ghana are winning now.
I won!
What are you waiting for? Dial *426*5# or visit www.megacashluckybox.com and play on our web portal. The minimum to play is 5 Ghana cedis. Your lucky box could be holding that big cash prize. Mega Cash Lucky Box. Dial *426*5# and win instant cash today. Don't wait. Remember, terms and conditions apply and is annually approved on the Caritas Lottery platform. The average human body mass should have at least 60% water for optimal performance in any physical or mental exercise. We can help you maintain it naturally. Natural mineral water. Simply natural. For bulk purchase, call 0596-273-546 or 0596-273-547. This advert is FDA approved.
Mega Cash Lucky Box and ebe diwe hujuma where you game wa ube diska instant cash prize for phone number short code *426*5# and no eye pay can cry. Mega Cash Lucky Box. Enya dem krasa obeto. Dial short code *426*5#. Our all network. Follow prompt no. Na choose Lucky Box. Na resika ehwem no. Ni nyina ya wodia. We bet to be 500,000 Ghana cedis. Ane 5 billion. Shadow Sasa Shay and Ella Jatun. Our Caritas lottery platform so. Mr. Shaka Crow.
Mesamo akwaba beyond the bat TV XYZ so baby wa wo hwe bia wa wo tie power 97.9 FM wakwaba e de badwumadie so na ye tua inside politics dwumadie no so a na me ka wo setema development corporation ye twaso kano TDC Ghana Limited yenim say Ghana's premier real estate development company says ya de omu kopie mo Volta regional capital ho no mo se de no mo de eba ho says ya de a development project in bi kopie mo ho a omato no Oxygen City tienie pa me se den Oxygen City enti sa landmark project omokoye Oxygen City wo TDC development because wo hoi omo mayen fully serviced plot ahro modern apartment elegant executive houses saso na commercial and industrial area ni no because wo ansana world class golf course into world class golf course so no so omodi ebi ekupiem ho designed promote luxury business growth and sustainable living ni na ya de adwumadi omukodi ho na adwumadi musiam fanto Ghana free name as official launch no prestigious project will be performed by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ono the President of the Republic. Nyame Adoma Ochina Wednesday, 17 December 2025 at 10 a.m. sharp. Na Jumedi Bekoso Wuho enti Mama ye na yenkwe na yenkobwa ma enyefe ho Oxygen City TDC development na dey sa Jumedi so edi bepiem wuho na bibia entumi enko enkansa minim sa wate dia tie na ate edro bia ye frɛ no Otwea herbal powder na omo mu produce Otwea herbal powder ye frɛ omo Divine Hope Herbal Center omo no we producers of Otwea herbal powder enti se wutie mi a wosisi na ye wo ya be ma no ba koko na haw me pa cho bebe why mbre wo mpem we libido no from stroke na ulcer menstrual disorder say how may come for Divine Hope Herbal Center at the amount omodre friend Otwea herbal powder nanso obenya insusie dide kakra one water na wo the Otwea herbal powder what ba kongum usisi na ye wo ya koko na ha why mbre wo mpem we libido no from ana ulcer yem kro na ha oba obu nsa wo hunu ye ni na no Otwea herbal powder be di wasama mo wokofodua ne mpotema Gapson Pharmacy wokofodua sunyane Cap Herbal saso na House of Drugs wa Shaman Boache Ansa or Cape Coast na Boache Herbal no tema ansa na PK Gumbela ono so Tamale open once maybe safre 0591 565 557 and 0550 639 037 na wonim pen for ending komo na bibia entumi enkonkan Power Specialist Herbal Hospital na medrus for ohene yere akosia edoi aya no dano no se men kan tro say yere friend hepatitis A B C D and E what they call her omebua fatty liver sciatica prostate and I say when sana when I nebu pain also ne how compo and a fibroid how for any chemo Power Specialist Herbal Hospital no muntu mboa Kumasi omofe Yase Lake Bosontri Road opposite Jesbro filling station Accra branch no kwa benya Pokwasi ACP ekwane so a Takrade branch no Anaji Estate adjacent Anaji MA Primary School ha. Eya frefra from me was 0244 544422 and 0200 383831 na bibia entumi enko enkan emfema sa kwajo ayahwe na bibia ndedin na me pacho wonim se sesi a first CV na yeromi week in kwalani na makwan next week in holiday ni tuemu sa ganganto holiday adi se wutie mi a me kamfo Safari Valley Eco Resort diamo Safari Valley Eco Resort mi ni Elizabeth ho na ese woni ense de ka cho Lizi wa ko hoda chonko hoda me no be ko hoate yo wudu wa obeka sen no kre baby wo baby na necessary bi ni West Africa ha 4-star Forest Lounge Resort wudu ha woni beji yi papa wo serene escape surrounding oye by fenyi woni betumi agiye 24 hours on time bi obedru bi amhwe kama as a guest ibiom almost in control so we ba mean so cross security some problem almost surrounding near wildlife and this would do what we be who be say zebra antelope mara and one of the bebre nankasa when you bet me aje ho would be etwitwa info yini Safari Valley Eco Resort is a main control say we call vacation or kwashawa we need problem na experience one kasa over experience was Safari Valley Eco Resort because say the King Nicholas Kai one must specialize with conferences a day visit weddings and a honeymoons birthday celebration you know between our dofo alcohol na makojimo ni we provide world class accommodation so no private swimming pool one kasa one dofo mo benya modia mo bedem and recreation and restaurant and a continental any local dishes ubenya ebi ho kama ma bibiara etumi akọ enkan na me ka wo say omo wo experience wildlife tours for ho anti omo supervise world trained experienced tour guys amono bedi djuma kama pa na wudu ho abekasa ne kre ese woni ense ma okacho emwa horo plant ni eniema obehu ho no woni bedi ye papa idini Safari Valley Eco Resort me pacho cycling horseback riding, fishing on the man-made lake and a man-made canal, and sana 9-hole golf. In your bebrina ne oha ukwa weni beji. Safari Valley Eco Resort make out maseme show kwine wo henfen omo dewu ehon obi hu is the Eastern Region Okre District. From 0596 9143 94 0596 9143 49 na woni omundi nkomo na bibia entumi enkonkan mamenda Mayor of Accra say Honorable Michael Nick Papo Alote obo adwuma papa ye wo hwe mo amwo within the Accra Metro na kwan ne finfin mo painti o say afi bro nye bewa wunye adwuma ye ma wadwuma painti ni 100 Ghana cedis a day. Most am be pre cleaning Accra yi so 100 cedis a day. Umpe we no pedi anti say yenya mayor bi say no create adwuma ma say wani ensa de catro. Anti the Mayor of Accra Honorable Michael Nick Papo Alote obo adwuma ye papa the Mayor of Accra ye chechiaw minim say nyame ya adoma mo worship service Thanksgiving no be so Thursday. Ye boy homebody say bi o ye nyame peso chena ebia ebenya we fidi kesi so enti Honorable Mayor echechi papa na woni ebedi nkomo efa no dwumadi esi wani so a wo makra na esmasi enti de eteno say bro yin wonye adwan ya bro mba fa nkofo mo ma prepare ko medem 100 Ghana cedis won pay we na opedie sanity na medican ka say na sante hen otumfo say to the second ade a we be piem won cry na mediation a ojinemu ede ma yenuanum kusasi eni yenuanum bokofo no the report in the bre His Excellency John Dramani Mahama enti we be piem won cry eno na wo hwe television ya wo hu opemso etumi be piem a the report no or they submit abre His Excellency John Dramani Mahama nti ono na wetumi be piem on kran oko piem abenkesiem na ode ato His Excellency John Dramani Mahama nim na yehwe ma ekoso wo eye yenu anum mo boku between the Kusasis and the Mamprusis no omu de ye ato ye na bibie tumi adedin anti otumfo say tutu otu kwan kakra na me adom ba eno no be piem wo eye Kotoka International Reporter oko na we could share His Excellency John Dramani Mahama na bibia etumi IFFFFF kama pa nteno na de TV no so a wo hwe enti enche cry be cross over na ya kwohwe dwumedie no ma ekoso ho na yekotie dwumedie no ma ekoso ho na bibia etumi akọ enkansa anti very very soon you be cross over na yakọhwe ma ekoso ho nti de eteno no nti say aye crowd na you betumi across over mama me hwe na yentumi cross over na yenkoti dwumedie no enye radio na me ka wo say monfa ex natural me no water ne bimbra mi na festive season eno ana ye di Kofi boy won fa bimbra festive season eno na ye didi eno na ye didi and say wutie me a ex natural mineral water and then your body just say simply natural ex natural mineral water simply natural and see your 350 ml and then on my yen say ball no you 500 ml na you 750 ml inti you see no drama you say sachet saba wo ba ASYZ broadcast ahimfie ha ye wo depo ha anke Robert dutu bi openo be bonu po because me bonu po na afi me de akwata krade na makoteche abankofo saa nti wo so sanete baby adri ye cross over call the Jubilee House abankesiem na ye kotie abra His Excellency John Dramani Mahama receive asante hene na otumfo osai tutu the second yen cross over na enkohwe ma ekoso abankesiem.
Special recognition to the National Chief Imam, His Eminence, distinguished stakeholders and elders of Bako, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. On behalf of His Excellency the President, I want to warmly welcome all of you to today's special occasion. Without much ado, may I humbly invite Right Reverend Dr. Agbeko, Chairman, Christian Council of Ghana, to give us the opening prayer. Shall we please receive him with an applause?
Let us pray. Almighty God, our Creator and Owner, we thank you for giving us this opportunity to be together. Be present, for we gather in your name for peace. You are God of peace. Help us to learn the way of peace, and may we all be one in seeking this cause, for this is why you brought us together. Open our ears and our understanding, that whatever will be presented, we will understand it fully, and all of us will apply to the cause of peace for Ghana to be a nation of peace, total peace, for our own good, for our growth and development. This we pray in the most excellent name, Lord Jesus. Amen.
Thank you very much, Reverend Dr. Agbeko. May I now invite the Minister for Interior to declare to us the purpose of our gathering here today. Shall we please receive him with an applause?
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, Your Royal Majesty, now Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, Your Excellency, the Vice President of the colleague, honorable ministers present. Mr. President, permit me to stand on the existing protocol so that we can make some time. Ladies and gentlemen, today, 16th of December 2025, mark another milestone in the quest for restoration of peace and stability for the people of Boko and other related conflict communities. This has come about because of the combination of months of hard work, diplomacy, tolerance, mutual effort, and perseverance led by His Royal pre-colonial era, when the area was predominantly inhabited by farmers. Post-independent Ghana witnessed multiple shifts in the various
mediation report eno na yehu nti yehu Interior Minister Honorable Muntaka Mohammed ono na yehu se okasa no nti yeguso ye feed na feed the Jubilee House, the presidency na me ho bia so ye de abra nti eno ho na ye hwe no ye sanye feed na ade a ye beko na ye de ni na etumi e de abra ye bokonsensem se asomdwi betumi ababoko ono na ama sa adwumedi ekoso nti enche yebete Otumfuo Osei Tutu II otekokoso aha nana yebete ono so nanu di se yebete His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ono so yebete nenka
Osei Tutu and appreciate his tremendous and esteemed effort in this peace process. Within a relatively short period, His Royal Majesty has been able to broker an agreement between the parties, and we are here today to witness the handing over of the mediation process report, which will bring lasting peace to Boko. Nana Yedase, Yankupon Kosenshao. The effort in conflict resolution and peace building is a long and arduous one, requiring integrity, fairness, impartiality, and confidentiality. I have no doubt that the glory that Boko was associated with some years past will be restored in no time when the report is presented and implemented. Your Excellency, the Minister of Interior, on our part, will ensure that with the collaboration and support of other government and non-state actors, will play our role to the best of our ability to sustain and safeguard the peace and stability of Boko after today. Indeed, the actual work of rebuilding trust for sustainable peace and development starts from today. On behalf of the Minister of Interior and all the state security agencies, CSOs, and other peace actors, I wish to thank His Excellency the President for all the support that he has given, not only the security sector, but all effort, especially His Royal Majesty Asantehene Osei Tutu II, and all actors in trying to arrive at today. We want to also thank Nana Asantehene and the leaders of our esteemed traditional leaders of Boko. Once again, may the good Lord bless the people of Boko. with peace and bless our homeland Ghana. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the Minister for Interior, for those words of gratitude. Your Excellency, Nananom, it is now my honor to invite His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Tutu II, Asante Hene, and leader of the Bawku Peace Mediation Process, to deliver his remarks, after which we will do the presentation of the Bawku Peace Mediation Report.
Thank you, Protocol. Your Excellency the President, Excellency the Vice President, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm here not to give a judgment as to who was wrong and who was right. I'm here to present the facts as they are for us to have peace. It is almost about 2.5 years since your predecessor invited me to mediate in a major conflict in Bawku that had not only claimed the lives of many innocent souls but had become a major threat to the security of the nation. Almost a year ago, the people of Ghana handed the mandate of the governance of Ghana to Your Excellency, and you wasted no time in reaffirming the mandate of the Bawku mediation. By the grace of God, we are able to assemble here this morning for us to present to Your Excellency the report of the mission you entrusted to us. We present the report for your kind consideration, whatever action you and your government consider appropriate. Before dealing with the report, you will permit me, Your Excellency, to thank you and your predecessor for the confidence reposed in me in entrusting this delicate matter to me. There's nothing more grievous than the peace and security of the land. Like I said, it was a mediation. It wasn't an arbitration, and I'm not here, as I said, to say that this one was wrong or this one. I'll present the facts as they are, and that's what it should be binding on all of us, whoever is there. I've spoken to before I came yesterday, I was on the phone for more than with my brother, the Nairi, explaining the circumstances to him in terms of the decision I took. And I have spoken to the Bawku Naba, taking time all these periods to be speaking to everybody about it. The governments of the new Patriotic Party and the National Democratic Congress, led by President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and President John Dramani Mahama, asked me to use my traditional mediation mechanisms to find an amicable solution to the situation in Bawku, which both governments shall enforce. But before I continue, please, I said to the President, bear with me to read through all the report, because I don't want a situation where it will be said that they've doctored what I brought. So we have to read what I wrote so that everybody, my brother, the Nairi, and my son, the Bawku Naba, will all know that that is exactly what I said. So it isn't the President who is doctoring anything. At the commencement of the hostilities, the government of President Akufo-Addo had issued a statement stating government's view on the legal position. Both President Akufo-Addo and now President John Dramani Mahama came to a conclusion that historically, governments have intervened to resolve the matter without lasting peace. Again, they indicated that the courts of Ghana had also been invited to resolve the issues implicated in the Bawku matter, and their pronouncements have not been respected by either side if it went against them. As a result, both governments, who now represent the two main political traditions, now take a position that I should define a solution to the Bawku situation using mediation, and my recommendations or conclusions shall be enforced by both governments at all times as a traditional solution to the problem. It is important to give a brief assessment of the documents submitted by the Nairi and the Bawku Naba, as well as oral rendition of their respective cases, as part of efforts to mediate the chieftain's dispute in Bawku to ensure lasting peace. That's An examination of the respective cases of the parties relative to the facts, custom, tradition, and the law will be evaluated and or examined. The case of the Mamprusis is that Mampruku Kingdom started in Pusiga near Boko and founded by Nabiwa at a time when there was no ethnic group in the Boko area called Kusasi. After the demise of Nabiwa, Na Tosugu became the Nairi and decided to relocate the capital of the Mampruku Kingdom from Pusiga to Gambaga, but he appointed a Tingunaba, a caretaker, to take care of his father's shrine at Pusiga. It was further asserted that in the 17th century, the 10th Nairi, called Na Atabia, decided to secure his territory by establishing garrisons and military posts at key positions that were uninhabited, which led to the establishment of Boko and 5 other towns. The first chief of Boko was one Na Ali Atabia, who was the son of Na Atabia in the year 1721. Furthermore, the Mamprusis ruled Boko for over 150 years through 8 successive Mamprusi chiefs before the arrival of the British in the Northern Territories, and specifically Boko in 1907. In 1957, so they claimed, the CPP government, through its sympathizers in Boko, elected one Abugrabo Azoka as Bokonaba. And the case of the Kusasis is that they practiced the Tindana system, where the eldest male person in the clan becomes the traditional ruler, the leader of the clan, vested with administrative, judicial, and spiritual authority. However, when the British arrived in Boko in 1901, in their bid to advance the indirect rule system, they were not satisfied with the Tindani system, so they decided to adopt qualified Tindanis to become chiefs. And in areas where they could not find qualified Tindanis, they appointed other people as chiefs. The Kusasis further contended that it was around this period that the Mamprusis presented themselves to the British as chiefs of their ethnic community in Boko and got registered accordingly. However, the Tindani position was never abolished as a traditional arrangement. Thus the chiefs and Tindanis coexisted, but the new Mamprusi rulers became power drunk and started misusing their authority over the Kusasi landowners, hence a decision by the Kusasis to remove the Mamprusi chiefs and replace them with their own. So when the last Mamprusi chief died in 1956, the Kusasis gathered in Boko in 1957 and selected a son of a prominent Tindani in Boko called Abugrabo Azoka I to fill the vacancy as Bokonaba. Following the death of Naba Abugrabo Azoka in 1983, his first son was selected in 1984 to succeed him as the next Bokonaba by name Zugran Asigri Abugrago Azoka II. He has continued in that position till date. But I'll try and let me give you some background of previous governments and judicial efforts to resolve the Boko matter. Boko Affairs. Report of the committee appointed by His Excellency the Acting Governor General, Lord Listowel, to inquire into and report his findings on the claim of Abugrago Azoka to have been elected or appointed and installed as chief of the Kusasi area. On the 6th of June 1957, while the then Nairi was going through the various ceremonies in Nalurigu connected with the appointment of a new Bokonaba in the person of Mahama Yeremia, a Mamprusi prince, the Kusasis had gathered in overwhelming numbers in Boko to also elect and install Abugrago Azoka, a Kusasi, as the chief of Boko and the head of the then canton chiefs in the Kusasi area. This followed the death of Na Awuni, who was the Mamprusi chief of Boko and head of the Kusasi area. The enslavement of a Kusasi chief created a situation where there were two rival claimants to the skin of Boko, and all residing in Boko. Several petitions and representations were made to government of the day, which decided to set up a committee to inquire into the rival claims. The committee was made up of lawyer S.D. Opoku Afari as chairman, Nana Yawa Ajimambadu, then Domahine, and Lure Canton III, the then Tumukro, as members. After the deliberations of the committee, they reported to the Governor General, Lord Listowel, then, that Abugrago Azoka has been customarily elected and installed the chief of Kusasi area. Abugrago Azoka thus became the first Kusasi Bokunaba and head of the Kusasi area. The records of the committee reveals that they accepted evidence adduced by him that his father and grandfather owned most of the land that constitutes present-day Boku Township. In the analysis of the committee, the Kusasis were the original inhabitants of the Kusasi area. The Mamprusis had invaded the area and began to install princes from Narugu to rule over the Kusasis. They suspected that the arrival of the Europeans might have added the establishment of Mamprugu hegemony in the area. At the time of the work of the committee, the Mamprusi who appeared before the committee insisted that the land in the Kusasi area belonged to the Nairi. As the Opukwa Ferry and others versus Jeremiah Mamprusi civil appeal number 80 in the year 1958. The Mamprusi deposed chief sought an order of certiorari in the divisional court to quash the proceedings and report of the Affair Committee and the Governor General's decision that Abugrago Azoka has been customarily elected and installed the chief of Boku. This decision of the Governor General was contained in the Gazette publication notification. Essentially, the Mamprusis argued that the terms of reference of the committee was to determine if Abugrago Azoka has been validly selected as chief of the Kusasi area, but the Governor General's Gazette notification had decided that Abugrago Azoka has been customarily elected and installed the chief of Boku. The Divisional Court judge concluded that the Governor General's decision that Abugrago Azoka has been customarily elected and installed chief of Boku was not identical with or equivalent to a decision that he had been elected and installed chief of Kusasi area. Hence, the learned judge quashed the proceedings of the committee and the decision of the Governor General. The Kusasis aggrieved by the decision appealed same, and the Court of Appeal presided by Chief Justice Akukosa disagreed with the judge sitting in the Divisional Court. The Court of Appeal concluded that once the learned judge accepted as a fact that the person who holds the position of chief of Boku is also the person who is customarily recognized as the chief of Kusasi area, then his opinion that the chief of Boku is not identical with the chief of Kusasi area is untenable, since terms chief of Boku and chief of Kusasi area are interchangeable titles and not what the learned judge suggested to as mutually exclusive. The Court of Appeal therefore allowed the appeal and restored the Governor General Lord Listowel's decision that Abugrago Azoka has been validly elected and installed chief of Boku. The Governor General was the representative of Queen Elizabeth, who was then the Queen of England and exercised dominion over Ghana at that time. And this was on the 21st of October 1958. The Court of Appeal then was equivalent to our present-day Supreme Court. It was a binding and authoritative decision and became part of the law of Ghana. Following the decision of the Court of Appeal, the Governor General made an order prohibiting Jeremiah Mahama from holding himself as Bokunaba. He was also required to reside outside a radius of 30 miles from the town or village of Boku. This was contained in the Jeremiah Mamprusi Prohibition Order 1959, LN 225, the year 59. The Chiefs Recognition Act 1959, number 11 of 1959 by Section 3, as amended by the Chiefs Recognition Amendment Act 1959, provided that it shall be lawful where the Governor General deems it to be in the public interest by order to direct that any person named in the order shall not exercise or purport to exercise the functions of a chief and by the same or any other order to direct that such person shall not reside within a defined radius of any place named therein. On the 5th of December 1966, NLC, the Lieutenant General J. Ankra, who had become chairman of the National Liberation Council, which had replaced the government of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah following a military coup on the 28th of February 1966, 24th of February 1966, promulgated the Chieftaincy Amendment Decree 1966. NLC Decree 112, according to its terms, provided that the recognition of the member of the National Liberation Council responsible for chieftaincy matters shall, for the purposes of Section 1 of the Chieftaincy Act 1961, Act 81, be deemed to have been withdrawn from the person named in column 1 of the second schedule of this decree as chiefs in respect of the places specified respectively in relation to them in column 2 of that schedule. Any person specified in the said column 1 of the said schedule shall be deemed to be prohibited by executive instrument made under Section 4 of the Chieftaincy Act 1961, Act 81, from purporting to exercise the functions of a chief, and all other persons shall be deemed to be required by such an instrument not to treat him as a chief, and accordingly, any person who contravenes any such prohibition or requirement shall be guilty of an offense under the said Section 4. Any person who was chief in any place specified in column 2 of the second schedule to this decree, immediately before any such person as is referred to in column 1 of that schedule was recognized as chief for that place, shall, if he is alive at the commencement of this decree, be deemed with effect from the commencement of this decree to be restored to the stool in the person specified in the said column 1 of the said schedule, and to have been recognized as chief by the member of the National Liberation Council responsible for chieftaincy matters for the purposes of Section 1 of the Chieftaincy Act 1961. The second schedule had in page 7 of the decree a list of names of chiefs from whom recognition is to be withdrawn, and the places at which they acted as chiefs in the upper region. They included Ayamba, Bugari, Timpani, Atu Ayebo, Kusanaba, Pujiga, Tanga, Ayubiogo, Gabri, Adubila, Asa, Zabila, Abugria, Puzida, Binduri, Akagane, Kugri, Balila, Awuni, Zongori, Abaricha Kusasi, Senebaga, Abugri, Abango, Binaba, Dinko, Dant, Warikumbo, Azinab, Ayebo, Teshi, Anena, Akazuza, Pusiga, Arini, Adoleba, Kulungugu, Arini, Achule, Bugri, Aburago, Azoka, Boko. Thus, Abugrago Azoka was removed from office as chief of Boko and head of the Kusasi area, and the chiefs he appointed to the 15 other subdivisions listed above were also deposed. NLC Decree 112 further provided in the section that the instruments specified in the third schedule to this decree are hereby revoked. One of the instruments listed on page 8 of the decree is titled Jeremiah Mamprusi Prohibition Order 1959. The NLC decree thereby placed the Nairi as the one entitled to enskin the chief of Boko. Given that Jeremiah Mahama had died before the passage of NLC Decree 112, the Nairi selected and enskinned one Adam Azambego and Mamprusi as the Boko Naba. The High Court and the National House of Chiefs affirmation of NLC Decree 112. The Kusasi, led by Abugrago Azoka, continued to mount protestations against the NLC Decree 112. Kusasis refused to accept the authority of the Mamprusi chief of Boko and continued to proclaim Abugrago Azoka as their legitimate ruler in 1980, when the Third Republican Constitution was in force and the government of Dr. Hila Neman was reigning, Aturiba Azambego, the then Mamprusi chief of Boko, sought an injunction from the High Court in Bolgatanga to restrain Abugrabo Azoka from interfering in chieftaincy matters in Boko. This injunction was granted. The Kusasi, led by Abugrabo Azoka, petitioned the National House of Chiefs requesting the House to set aside the NLC Decree 112 on the grounds that it offended the Court of Appeal ruling in favor of Abugrabo Azoka. In 1983, the House of Chiefs declined the invitation and held that it had no jurisdiction to declare NLC Decree 112 as invalid. The Mamprusi chief therefore remained in place. Then the passage of the Chieftaincy Restoration PNDC Law 75. Following the overthrow of the Third Republican Constitution and the establishment of the military government of Fly Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings under the PNDC, the Kusasis continued to petition against Mamprusi rule in the Kusasi area. The government of Jerry John Rawlings decided to review the case and came to a conclusion that in the case of Boko and in the matter of the Kusasis, they believed that the National Liberation Council had committed an error. It was argued that the NLC's focus on chiefs was on chiefs removed by President Kwame Nkrumah. The situation of Boko was different. The Mamprusi chief was removed by the Governor General upon the recommendation of a committee he had set up. His decision was also affirmed by the then Supreme Court of Ghana. On that basis, the PNDC law decided to restore the Kusasi back to the status of chiefs in Boko. In all the places where the NLC Decree 112 withdrew recognition for chiefs who were in place in 1966, PNDC Law 75 restored recognition to them. Those that came into force on the basis of NLC Decree 112 were also removed and recognition withdrawn from them. I hereby reproduce PNDC Law 75 herein. Whereas by virtue of Section 3(1) of the Chieftaincy Amendment Decree 1966, NLC Decree 112, the then government of the National Liberation Council withdrew recognition of the persons named in Part 1 of the schedule to this law as chiefs in the places specified respectively in relation to them. And whereas by virtue of Section 3, Clause 2 of the said decree and the said persons were prohibited from purporting to exercise the functions of chiefs, and whereas by virtue of Section 4 of the said decree, the person named in Part 2 of the schedule to this law were accorded recognition as chiefs by the then government of the National Liberation Council and restored as chiefs of the places specified respectively in relation to them in place of the person named in Part 1 of the said schedule. And whereas the Provisional National Defense Council, having considered the circumstances of the withdrawal of recognition by the then government of the National Liberation Council of the person named in Part 1 of the schedule to this law as chiefs, is satisfied that the said person, having been lawfully installed or enskinned as chiefs, should be restored to the original status as chiefs of the places specified respectively in relation to them. Now, therefore, in pursuance of the Provisional National Defense Council Establishment Proclamation 1981, this law is hereby made. Notwithstanding anything to the contrary, the person named in column 1 of Part 1 of the schedule to this law, whose recognition as chiefs of the places specified respectively in relation to them in column 1 was withdrawn by virtue of Section 3 of the Chieftaincy Amendment Act 1966 NLC Decree 112, shall, at the commencement of this law, be deemed to have been restored to the original status as chiefs of their respective places. Any person specified in Part 1 of the schedule to this law who before the commencement of this law is performing the functions of a chief by virtue of Section 4 of the Chieftaincy Amendment Decree 1966 NLC Decree 112 in any place specified in column 2 of Part 1 of that schedule is hereby prohibited from purporting to exercise such functions, and it shall be unlawful for any person to treat such person as a chief. 3(1) Any person referred to in Section 2 of this law who has in his possession or custody any property belonging to the stool or skin of any of the places specified in column 2 of Part 1 of the schedule to this law shall, with the commencement of this law, surrender such property to the person named in column 1 of part 1 of that schedule and restored under section 1 of this law as chief in the place specified in relation to him in column 2 of that part. Any person referred to in section 2 of this law who occupied any palace belonging to the stool or skin of any of the places specified in column 2 of part 1 of the schedule to this law shall immediately on the commencement of this law vacate such palace and surrender possession thereof to the person named in column 1 of part 1 of that schedule and restored under section 1 of this law as chief in the place specified in relation to him in column 2 of that part. Any person who willfully obstructs the person authorized to take possession of any stool or skin property, refuses to vacate the palace, willfully obstructs the restoration of any stool or skin property or contravenes any provision of this law shall be guilty of an offense and liable on summary conviction to imprisonment for a term of not less than 3 years without the option of a fine. And then it listed the same names, so restoring the names as it is now again. So Abugra Azoka becomes Bokunaba again. And Alhaji Adam Zambio then ceases, is prohibited from becoming, from being Bokunaba. The passage of PNDC Law 75 led to bloody clashes between the Mampruses and the allies and the Kusasis and the allies. Other complementary measures were implemented by the PNDC to restore law and order. They included the Boko Lands Vesting Law, PNDC Law 99, which vested all lands in the Boko district in a PNDC free from all encumbrances, and the passage of the Prohibited Organization Boko District Law 1984, PNDC Law 98, which proscribed tribal organizations in Boko. Abugrago Azoka had died before the passage of PNDC Law 75. The Kuskasis then enskined his son as Asigri Abugrabo Azoka as the Bokunaba and the head chief of the Kusasi traditional area. The Constitution of Ghana, 1992, came into force with the Kusasis in place as the rulers of Boko. Asigri Abugrago Azoka was Bokunaba, and by virtue of that, he enskinned all the divisional chiefs in the Kusasi traditional area. Article 270, Clause 1 of the Constitution provides that the institution of chieftaincy, together with its traditional councils as established by customary law and usage, is hereby guaranteed. So the position of Asigri Abugra Azoka seemed to have been frozen in time by the 1992 Constitution, until one Alhaji Ibrahim Adam Zambio mounted a challenge in the present Supreme Court. This 2003 action instituted by the Mampruses before the Supreme Court, seeking to invoke its original jurisdiction, was discontinued without liberty to reapply under Article 270 and 277 of the 1992 Constitution and the Chieftaincy Restoration of Status of Chiefs Law 1983, PNDC Law 75, which had then been repealed by the Statute Law Revision Act 1996, Act 516 in 1996. On Tuesday, the 29th day of April 2003, the Supreme Court of Ghana provided what legal analysts believe to be finality to the question of the Boko skin. The ruling was very short and yet profound. Report says, the application to discontinue is granted but without liberty to apply PNDC law, liberty to apply under PNDC Law 75 and Article 270 and 277 of the 1992 Constitution. Cost of those days, 10 billion to the first defendant. Signed, G.K. Akwa, Justice of the Supreme Court, T.K. Aziz, Justice of the Supreme Court, S.A. Brobe, Justice of the Supreme Court, S.G. Beidou, Justice of the Supreme Court, Dr. S. Chum, Justice of the Supreme Court. Apparently, on the morning of the hearing of the matter, the plaintiffs instead sought leave to discontinue the case. The leave was granted by the court director that no one should come back to that court again pursuant to Articles 270 and 277 of the 1992 Constitution, the matter of the restoration of Abugrago, Azoka, and all other sub-chiefs under PND's Law 75. Under the 1992 Constitution, the Supreme Court has final authority to make such pronouncements, and only that court can review its decisions under certain circumstances. I've gone to great length to review the history of various legal resolutions of the matter and the involvement of the various military regimes to show that this matter has traveled a long, tortuous legal and political journey. In spite of the efforts of various courts and governments, the Memphrises did not give up their claims, and the Kusasis did not relent in their efforts to assert their independence and identity as a self-ruling tribe. The Nairi kept insisting that the Supreme Court has not ruled on the issues implicated in the Bokun skin matter. Asigri Abugrago Azoka insisted that the Supreme Court gave finality to the matter. This contestation led often to extreme violence, and many people have been gruesomely killed and maimed. Property that can be easily calculated has been destroyed. Whole communities have relocated because all the buildings have been burned by various factions. The intensity of the violence did not deter either side. They dug in. Governments from PNDC to NDC-1 to MPP-1 to NDC-2 and MPP-2 have invested heavily in security and other measures with very limited success as the violence kept escalating. Within these developments, the Mamprises in Boko organized a funeral for the last deposed Mamprusi chief of Boko, Na Tampuri Zambio, who had died in 1981, 40 years ago. The Kusasis in Boko had objected to the performance of the funeral on the grounds that Na Tampuri Zambio had his chieftaincy recognition withdrawn by the passage of the Chieftaincy Restoration Status of Chiefs Law 1983, PNDC Law 75. Again, the Nairi of Mamprugu on 15 February 2023 at his palace in Nalarugu purported to enskin one Mr. Seydou Abagari as Bokunaba. This generated a violent reaction in Boko and its environs. The government of President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo promptly issued a statement same day denying the legitimacy of that act. Government condemns developments in Nalarugu today, February 15th. 2023, concerning the purported enskinment of a new Bokunaba as illegal and a threat to national security. Government further reiterates that Naba Asugri Bugrabo Azoka is the Bokunaba, duly gazetted and a member of the National and Upper East Regional House of Chiefs. The security agencies have therefore been directed to arrest and prosecute any other person who holds himself out as Bokunaba. This statement was signed by Mr. Kojo Oppong Nkrumah as Minister for Information. The government of Nana Addo Dankwa did not arrest Seydou Abagari. The government continued to reject as illegal what happened in Nalarugu and repeated same in another statement dated 28 October 2024 when Seydou Abagari returned to Boko. The statement read in part, the return to Boko on 24th October of Mr. Seydou Abagari, who was illegally enskinned as Bokunaba in February 2023, subsequent to the vacation by the Court of Appeal sitting in Kumasi of the warrant for his arrest, has led to significant disturbances affecting public peace and security in the area. The government did not in any form or manner confer legitimacy on Mr. Seydou Abagari. As I indicated from the beginning, I was requested by the New Patriotic Party government to mediate in the matter. President John Dramani Mahama, who assumed office on the 7th of January, endorsed that I should proceed with finding an amicable resolution to the current situation. The parties in this dispute have willingly submitted themselves to the mediation process. The Bokunaba Sigri Abugrago Azoka has accorded me enormous respect and personally led his delegation at all times to my palace whenever invited. My brother the Nairi has for very good reason, sent a delegation of his elders and sub-chiefs at all times that I have requested him to come. They all express confidence in the process and believe that we will be able to work towards an amicable outcome. I started my engagement with my brother the Nairi by appealing to him to magnanimously recognize the position of the law that the Kusasi should rule themselves. After careful consideration, the Nairi made some concessions but gave some conditions for my consideration. Essentially, my brother the Nairi wanted the historical acknowledgement of his ancestral ownership of the entire land that now constitutes the Boko traditional area. He acknowledged that the Kusasis have come to largely occupy that area. Both Kusasis and the Mamprusis who are now occupying those lands are his children. He observed that as a result of colonial interference and interference of various governments, Kusasis have asserted self-rule and now lay claims to the chieftaincy of the area. The Kusasi claim has caused significant bloodshed between them and his Mamprusi children, and this has spread across the area and now poses a major national and international security threat. The Nairi detested that development and finds it most unfortunate that such bloodshed should occur among his children. He therefore sought an amicable compromise to end the feud and restore lasting peace. He said in part, "Be that as it may, in the interest of coexistence, peace and human dignity, my proposed solution in concessions is premised on the request from your Royal Majesty that I cede part of my jurisdiction in the Boko traditional area to the Kusasi tribe, with the hope that a lasting and enduring peaceful resolution of the Boko conflict will be achieved for all parties." The Nairi has been clear in his mind that his decision to make concessions has been a difficult one, but added that, nonetheless, guided by ancestral wisdom, commitment to peace and respect for your Majesty's tireless efforts, I have chosen the path of conciliation, not out of weakness, but as a testament to Mamprugu's strength, dignity, and unwavering commitment to the well-being of all communities in the Boko traditional area. I have been inspired by the desire and commitment of my brother the Nairi to bring a peaceful end to the conflict in Boko and its environs, and to define the best arrangements to accommodate all the different tribes and communities in the area. The Nairi outlined a set of proposals which form the basis of engagement that I have had with both sides, with the hope of finding a common ground. If a common ground emerged, it would enable them to reach an amicable resolution. With this historical understanding, I have impressed upon the Bokunaba, Sigria Bugrabu Azoga to acknowledge that at one time or another, the Nairi exercised traditional authority over the area that now constitute the Boko traditional area. I concede that colonization by the British might have played a role in the establishment of the chieftaincy institution across the area that now makes up the Kusal Traditional Council. Records has it that at various times the Nairi enskinned the Bokunaba, and the latter then enskinned the various sub-chiefs in the Boko traditional area. It is this state of affairs that the Kusasi challenged since 1957 until PNDC Law 75 was passed in 1983. The passage of PNDC Law 75 defines the resolution of the situation in Boko. I have as well impressed upon my brother the Nairi that current realities make it more pragmatic that we accept Kusasi rule over the area. With the passage of PNDC Law 75, the coming into force of the 1992 Constitution of Ghana, and the ruling of the Supreme Court in Alhaji Ibrahim Adam Zambego versus Aninchema Abugrago and Attorney General, it will be untenable for anyone to hold that Sigru Abugrabo Azoka is not the Bokunaba and exercises jurisdiction over the entire Kusasi area. The Supreme Court shuts its doors to anyone seeking to have the matter revisited. It is important to note that PNDC Law 75 was repealed alongside several laws and enactments by the Statute Law Revision Act 1996, Act 516. The long title of the Statute Law Revision Act 1996, Act 516, which repealed the Chieftaincy Restoration Statutes of Chief later Chiefs Law 1983, PND's Law 75, among other laws and enactments as indicated above, provides as follows: an act to repeal certain statutes that are no longer applicable or have become spent. It therefore appears that the Chieftaincy Restoration Statutes of Chiefs Law 1983, PND's Law 75, just like the other laws and enactments that were repealed by Act 316, were repealed because they had performed the purpose for which they were enacted and thus had become spent. Its repeal, therefore, did not create a vacuum, just like the other laws and enactments repealed with it. Rather, the status quo at the time of the repeal of PND's Law 75 by Act 516 was to be maintained. Response to the Nairi's terms of concessions. In spite of the clarity of the law on the matter, I still continue to engage my brother the Nairi on the terms of concessions presented by him to me. Essentially, he asked for a number of towns in the Kusasi area to be transferred to him to Enskin. The impression created was that those towns would prefer to be under the Nairi essentially. The request was to have some of the towns brought under the jurisdiction of the Nairi. I decided to engage the chiefs of those towns. After meeting the various chiefs of the towns and communities affected by the withdrawal of recognition following the implementation of the Governor General's White Paper in 1957, on the recommendations of the Afari Committee, the withdrawal of the recognition occasioned by the NLC Decree 112 and PNDC Law 75, I have come to the conclusion that there has been significant reconciliation among the various Kusasis and Mamprusis in all the other towns. Boku was mentioned in the proposed terms of settlement of the Nairi as one of the towns that the Mamprusi wanted to be given to the Nairi. Unfortunately, the law as it stands now makes Asigri Aburagu Asoka the lawful chief of Boku, and so it is impossible legally to do any such thing in this mediation exercise. On the question of Boku town, I have taken the position that the established tradition since 1931 thereabout is that the person who is Bokunaba has the entire Kusasi area. By law and the declarations of the Supreme Court of Ghana, Asigri Abugrago Azoka is a Bokunaba, and there cannot be any rival residing in Boku claiming otherwise. I have impressed upon my brother the Nairi to accept that recognition by law in appreciation of the enduring brotherhood that has existed between our two kingdoms in order to ensure lasting peace and eliminate the national and international security threats that my brother himself is so concerned about. I have been candid with my brother the Nairi that the purported enskinment of Mr. Saidu Abagari as Bokunaba cannot stand. I believe my brother the Nairi has come to terms with the difficulties that will pose to achieving lasting peace, which he desires. I have, from the inception, restrained both governments from effecting the arrest of Mr. Saidu Abagari out of respect for my brother the Nairi. The final resolution of the Boku matters requires that Mr. Saidu Abagari be recalled to Nalerigu by the Nairi to be reassigned to play another traditional role at the palace of the Nairi assisted by the state. Alternatively, he may choose to stay in Boku as an ordinary citizen of the community, but not to pose as Bokunaba. The final recommendation, Mr. President, I recommend that my brother the Nairi accepts the laws as presently constituting Asigri Abugrabu Azoka as the chief of Boku and head chief of the Kusasi traditional area. We chiefs, no matter how exalted, do not live above the Constitution of Ghana and the laws duly enacted and affirmed by the courts. Accordingly, the laws which recognizes Asigri Abugragu Azoka must be enforced by the government of the Republic of Ghana until changed in accordance with the 1992 Constitution or reviewed by the Supreme Court of Ghana. The government must enforce the laws and deal sternly with any person challenging the lawful authority of Abugra Azoka. This is critical to the restoration and maintenance of peace in Kusasi traditional area. I wish to thank you, Mr. President, and your predecessor for reposing such confidence in me and tasking me with the mediation of this conflict with a view to finding a lasting solution. I also want to thank the Nairi and the Bokunaba for their efforts relative to this mediation process. The various chiefs or heads of various communities whom I met in the area who also participated in this endeavor deserve positive commendation. I have come to the conclusion that the path to a lasting resolution coincides with the enforcement of the current position of the law by the laws of Ghana and by the Constitution enacted in 1992 and by the position of the Supreme Court that the matter should never be litigated before it again, as Sigri Ebugrago Azoka is the lawful chief of Boko and the paramount chief of Kusasi traditional area. He has been a member of the National House of Chiefs for about 40 years. He has been duly gazetted. His right to rule should not be disturbed, save through a judicial and constitutional recognized process, and which, as already indicated, appears, if any, a review of the pronouncement of the Supreme Court of the Republic of Ghana, stated herein. If the pronouncement of the Supreme Court appears not clear enough, remedy may be sought, if available, for clarification of the same by the Supreme Court. Either way, Boko and its environs will be assured of sustainable and enduring peace. Mr. President, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Mr. President, I want to suggest that I was going to meet them again. We set up a mediation process where we would, reconciliation and everything, the way things have happened, where the Peace Council, and then we nominate some lawyers from their side, from each side, and others, say we form a committee to go through that. Then we start a reconciliation process. Whilst talking to them, I realized also that arms and everything were there. And all those, I spoke to them. I think we can find a way to get them to go and find a safe place for them to go and leave it. Maybe an appeasement of some 500, going, not by the government, by the National Peace Council, myself and some people, we can do that also. That I tested the pulse and I believe it can be done. So now it's up to you to implement what I have said, Mr. President. I wanted to read that because I didn't want it to come from you, for them to charge you that you've changed the report. So
please be seated. Please. Shall we please give His Royal Majesty another big round of applause?
Please sit down, sit down. I just want to clarify. My son Cletus Avokaif is here because he has to be very careful in what pronouncements he made publicly. It is not right. It's a dicey situation. We are all trying to make amends and get people to move together as brothers and sisters. It looks like he's making various pronouncements and all that, which wouldn't endure to the peace that we want. So please, I wanted to, if he was here, I was going to tell him, but the message will get to him. I invite him and tell him that we've gotten to a state where we all have to find peace. Then Bokunaba is the Bokunaba. The law is on his side. We agree to that. But you don't make pronouncements on radio and everywhere that will incense the other side. Where we have reached is more like reconciliation. The Nairi accept, we have to get them all together. At a point, they are all married. When I had the reconciliation, one is saying, I was drinking Pito with you across the aisle. Looking from the Kusasi side, talking to the Mamprusi mother, were we not drinking Pito together? And my son Mahama Yaga here, father and mother Kusasi and Mamprusi, isn't it? So how can they fight? So please, that Mr. President, sorry, I just wanted to explain that.
Your Royal Majesty, we are deeply grateful for your leadership, wisdom, and commitment to peace. Thank you very much. Shall we please give another big round of applause? Thank you. Thank you. Your Excellency Nananom, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we shall now hear brief comments from key stakeholders. Without much ado, may I now invite Ojiahoho Yao JB, President of the National House of Chiefs, to deliver some brief remarks. Shall we please welcome him?
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Your Royal Majesty Otumfuo Osei Tutu Asantehene. I stand on all protocols, and on behalf of Nananom in the country, the National House of Chiefs, the Regional Houses of Chiefs, Adi Krofo and all, to express my gratitude first to His Excellency the President and his government, and indeed to the previous government as well, for asking His Royal Majesty to mediate in this matter, which has brought us to this point so far. Let me also express the gratitude of Nananom to His Royal Majesty for what we have heard this afternoon. I am indeed happy that he did not hand the report in an envelope to His Excellency the President and is ready to the hearing of everybody here. And by the time we get out, it has gone everywhere. What is left is for you, myself, everybody here to go back and speak to all the Boko citizens. We need peace, and so let us speak to them. I remember 3 days before Otumfuo met the Kusasis and the Mampusis in Manshia, I invited the Kusasis and Mampusis and the Zongo community and some of my chiefs in BBN to my house, and I spoke to them that Otumfuo will very soon present his reports. So what do we do? Indeed, I was excited that all the contributors pleaded for peace to exist in Boko. On this note, I am also urging everybody here, especially my revered chiefs, let us go back and then speak to the people of Boko. If this is done, I believe that there will be peace in Boko, and similarly, other areas will also learn from this, and we have peace. Of late, people have been saying that too many chieftaincy disputes. Remember even my minister saying that about 70% of all disputes in this country come from chieftaincy, right? But I'm also using this forum to plead through my minister and to government that government should resource the chieftaincy institution. It's an independent body. If it is an independent body, just like the judiciary and other, then it might be well resourced. In situations where contestants come to the house and we have to demand money from them before members of the Judicial Committee can sit, not because we want to be bribed, but because the money allocated to the sitting so small. I'm happy. The last time I met His Excellency, he also charged me to speak to my minister and present a paper. On this note, on behalf of Nananom, I thank Your Royal Majesty for being so bold, candid, and I'm happy you said it was not an arbitration, it was a mediation. and we all will support you to bring this matter to finality. Thank you. God bless you all.
Thank you very much. And now Jiahoho Yaujebi, President of the National House of Chiefs, for those comments. Next, we'll hear from representative of the religious leaders, Maulvi Muhammad bin Salah, to speak. Sally, sorry, thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Ghana, Your Excellency the Vice President, Your Royal Majesty, Otumfuo, other traditional rulers here, ministers of state, distinguished personalities, ladies and gentlemen, I extend to all of you the Islamic felicitation of peace, blessings, and mercy of the Almighty God. I stand here humbly for and on behalf of all the religious leaders of this great country, Ghana. I stand here as a fulfilled religious leader of Ghana, representing all my seniors and juniors, religious leaders of this country. Happy, grateful to the Almighty Allah, and collectively sing the praises of the Almighty God, extol His beauties, for the blessings that He has showered upon each and every one of us here. We thank Him for the journey that we've undertaken and for where we've successfully arrived at today. We thank His Excellency as well as his predecessor for all the effort that they genuinely made towards ensuring that we have lasting peace in Woku. We are grateful to His Royal Majesty, Otumfuo, for having demonstrated to the whole world that indeed the chieftaincy institution that we hold so high in our community is an institution of wisdom, and he has demonstrated to all of us in Ghana and beyond that he deserves the accolade of the King Solomon of our era. On behalf of all my brethren, we want to thank all the mediators, all the members of Otumfuo's mediation team, all the members from the Mamposi side, all the brethren from the Kusasi side, and indeed all Ghanaians, and hope and pray sincerely that we will all pledge that from now onwards we should never, ever undertake this kind of a journey in this country. Let us use today to be a call to all of us to respect peace, to honor peace, and to know that without peace, there can be no meaningful development in any human society. Even religiously, we cannot worship our Creator without the needed peace. On this note, I want to thank everybody, our President, Otumfuo, all those who made this day possible, and all those who saw us through to this very successful end. May the good Lord richly bless each and every one of us. Long live Ghana. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much. Last in this series, we'll hear from Most Reverend Emmanuel Kofi Fiano, Chairman of the National Peace Council. Shall we please receive him with an applause?
Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Ghana, Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Your Royal Highness Otumfuo Setutu II, allow me to stand on the protocol already established and make this a brief one. The National Peace Council is grateful to His Royal Highness Otumfuo Setutu II and the whole mediation team that he led, the chiefs and elders of the Kusasi and Mamprusi area, religious authorities, women and youth who participated in this process that we celebrate today. Many came with heavy hearts, yet chose peace through their participation in the mediation process. Your Excellencies, the conclusion of this mediation process does not erase the past, but it gives us hope to continue to lean on, a chance to stop the cycle, to protect our youth, protect our children from inheriting our pain, and to allow Bawku to breathe again. Peace in Bawku will require care, fairness, consistent engagement, and the development that reaches the ordinary person. Above all, it will require restraint, especially in moments of provocation. We respectfully appeal for continued support to ensure that the understanding reached here are upheld and protected. To the people of Bawku, we speak quietly but honestly. The future will not be built on revenge or anger. It will be built by small daily choices and by choosing patience over violence and dialogue over dispute. In this way, we choose peace and the preservation of life. Your Excellency, thank you for not giving up on Bawku. History may not record every meeting or conversation, but it will remember the commitment to peace when it matters most. The National Peace Council assures stakeholders of our commitment to continue to support and to engage at all levels to ensure the implementation of the roadmap agreed upon. May the markets of Bawku slowly return to life. May our schools remain open. May our nights grow calmer, and may peace be preserved for Bawku and Mother Ghana. We are grateful for this moment, and we pray that it leads to lasting peace. May God bless Bawku. May God bless the Upper East region and bless our homeland, Ghana. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Most Reverend Dr. Emmanuel Kofi Fiano. Shall we please give him another round of applause? Your Excellency, with your permission, I wish to recognize the High Commissioner of the United Kingdom to Ghana, Dr. Christian Rock. Shall we please acknowledge him? Thank you very much. We also wish to acknowledge all our senior government officials here present. It is now my singular honor to invite His Excellency, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, to deliver his remarks on this special occasion. Shall we please rise to acknowledge? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Kindly resume your seats. Thank you very much. Let me express my sincerest gratitude to Otumfuo Osei-Tutu II for his patience and diligence in working over all these months to mediate this seemingly intractable conflict between two important ethnic groups in our society. When I took over from my predecessor, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, in the security briefing he gave me, he mentioned that he had invited Otumfuo to be the sole mediator in the conflict that was raging in Bawku at the time. And so shortly after I took over, I paid Otumfuo a visit to confirm, the status of mediation and whether he actually had accepted to mediate. And he confirmed that he had. And so even though the mediation has been long, and I can understand the complexity of the Bawku case, and so it needed time and patience to be able to thoroughly engage all the parties and be able to flesh out the facts and finally come out with a recommendation. Today, I'm pleased that we have come to the end of that journey, and we're embarking on the next leg of the journey. And as he himself said, this was not an arbitration. An arbitration normally will make an award on who is right and who is wrong. This was a mediation, and the next leg of the journey is to reconcile our two brothers and sisters from the Kusasi and the Mamprose side. This conflict is not winnable militarily. No side can vanquish the other. Bawku is important to us because it is in the extreme northeast corner of our country. And we all know what is happening just across the border from Bawku. In all the national security reports that I receive, there is urgency put on settling and bringing peace to Bawku so that we can safeguard our whole northern border from the terrorist armed groups that are operating in our northern neighbor, Burkina Faso. And so the end of this mediation gives us the opportunity to see what the way forward is in terms of bringing peace and calm. Bawku has the potential to be one of the most vibrant commercial centers in our country, and indeed it has been a center of trade. And a lot of people in Bawku have prospered, whether they are Mamproses or they are Kusasis. Unfortunately, this conflict has turned the fortunes of Bawku. Teachers refuse to be posted there, doctors refuse to be posted there, civil servants are leaving. We're doing national service postings, and we have suspended posting national servicemen and women to Boko because we cannot guarantee their safety. And so I'm pleased that Otumfuo's mediation has come to an end and that he has presented a report, and I can assure him that government would look at this report, and within the next 24 hours, government will issue a statement on its definitive position on the report. But it's my hope that the National Peace Council, the House of Chiefs, and Otumfuo himself, and all the religious bodies would go the next step of continuing the engagement between the Nairi and the Bokunaba to ensure that we're able to bring reconciliation between the two groups. On behalf of the Vice President, Nana Pokwajima, on behalf of senior government officials, on behalf of the government and people of Ghana, I wish to thank Otumfuo for this very honorable job he has done for God and country. He has shown that he does not belong to Ashanti alone. He is a national asset. And so, Nana, I thank you very much. We've received a copy, and I'm happy that you took the decision to be transparent about it and read the report yourself. This has been covered live. The whole nation has heard you reading the reports, and I'm sure that we can act on it and make sure that we bring peace to Boko. I thank you all very much. May God bless us all.
Thank you very much. Another round of applause, please. Your Excellency, we thank you very much for your inspiring and reassuring words. I've just been told that we have the UNDP rep here who, yes, shall we please acknowledge the support from the UNDP? Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. We're just about coming to the end of this all-important program.